Now, a special 2-part edition of 48 Hours.
Murderers come in all shapes and sizes and ages. Didn't matter how young she was, how pretty she was, how smart she was. She wanted to kill him. She intended to kill him.
Campbell County 911.
Ma'am, I killed my boyfriend in self-defense.
Okay, where are you?
I'm standing about 10 feet from his dead body.
Okay.
On October 12th of 2012, which was a Friday night, Shayna Hubers had called the police and said that she had killed her boyfriend in self-defense. I went immediately to the Highland Heights Police Department.
You want something to drink? You want some water?
She had already been transported there by the first responders to the scene.
Okay, what was his name?
The man that I killed, Ryan Carter Poston.
Ryan Poston in 2012 was a 29-year-old lawyer. He did mostly civil law. He was very successful, had a very good practice.
Smart, oh, so smart. When he walked into a room, he immediately demanded attention, and he got it. He was a very good-looking guy, and he had a very big heart.
And your name is Shayna?
Shayna Huber.
Shayna at the time was a 21-year-old, recently graduated college student from the University of Kentucky with a psychology degree. Very, very bright, smart individual. And obviously she was very pretty too. They were together for a few months at a time, and then they were apart for some time period.
To say that their relationship was on and off would probably be an understatement. It was a roller coaster.
He was throwing me around the room, like picking me up and like had my face and stuff.
I was in an adjoining room with a video monitor, so I was watching this live.
Pulled me by the ponytail of my hair.
And she talked nonstop.
If you go to jail, are you allowed to keep your phone?
Hour after hour.
I knew he was violent. I knew he was crazy.
2 hours and 40-something minutes, I believe.
I had my head banged into a few different things tonight.
The facts and the evidence did not support her claim of self-defense.
Picking me up and throwing me against the bookshelf and calling me a hillbilly.
My name is Michelle Snodgrass. I am the prosecutor in the case against Shayna Hubers.
I really loved him.
She was putting on a show. She was dancing. She was laughing. She was snapping her fingers and saying, I did it.
I did. Yes, I did.
It was like an evening with Shayna Hubers, like on Broadway.
I have never seen someone who was so desperate to tell her story to anyone who would listen.
Can I talk to you? Can I have somebody to talk to?
I never saw one emotion that would have indicated remorse.
He had guns laying on the table.
If she was that afraid, she could go out the door.
Is your daughter a murderer?
Shayna Hubers is not a murderer. No, she is not.
Are you sure that he is dead?
He's dead, ma'am. He's completely dead.
Okay.
I think about him every day. You don't think something like that is ever going to happen to someone you know.
Matt Herron still struggles to make sense of what happened the night of October 12th, 2012, when his close friend Ryan Poston was killed.
Is there something I could have done that could have prevented that? And I know a lot of people in his life had to have felt the same way.
How did things spiral so out of control between Ryan and his girlfriend, Shayna Hubers, that she shot him to death, insisting it was to protect herself?
What was lost when your friend was shot and killed?
He's the type of person that you want in your life. Not just a friend, but a loving son, a protective, adoring older brother. He had 3 younger sisters that he absolutely adored.
Ryan's family was close-knit, even though his parents divorced when he was little. He was extremely close to his father, Jay Poston. And when his mother remarried to Peter Carter, Ryan thought of him as a second father.
He had 2 men who loved him like a son. He wanted to express how big of a role both of those men played in his life. So he had his middle name legally changed to Carter. He was very proud of that.
What did he want to do, and what did you see him doing in the years ahead?
You know, I used to joke that I would run his first political campaign for him for free.
Hi, baby.
Sarah Robinson, who grew up with Shayna in Lexington, Kentucky, says Shayna's future seemed promising as well.
And how smart was she?
I thought she was close to genius, in my opinion. I mean, she always was in AP classes, always getting A's and everything.
Shayna received countless awards for academic excellence and leadership.
She liked to succeed at anything and everything that she did.
And that included music and drama.
Was she a good actress?
She thought she was.
Sarah says back in high school, Shayna also had a real flair for the dramatic when it came to boys.
If a guy broke up with her or something, or if a guy just said they weren't interested in her, she would take it pretty hard, crying and maybe a little screaming. She didn't really like to let things go.
It was a side of Shayna Ryan would come to know all too well. Shayna went to school in Lexington, more than 80 miles away from Ryan's condo in Highland Heights. The two probably never would have met if it weren't for Facebook. He spotted provocative photos of her, and they started dating in the spring of 2011. He was 28 and a lawyer. She was 19 and a college student.
And was she happy?
Yeah, she seemed to be happy. I mean, she never said that there was anything wrong in the relationship.
She was just always there.
But according to Ryan's friend, Allie Wagner, there was plenty wrong right from the start.
How did Shayna react when she first met you?
She was so cold. You could just immediately tell that she was just obsessed with him. I think she had a goal in the beginning to make him settle down with her, and when she wasn't becoming successful, that became a problem.
He was very busy with work. He wasn't really looking for anyone. He had tried to end things a few times.
But Ryan was having a tough time getting Shayna to let go. Shayna admitted in a text to a friend, "He says he's only with me because I make him feel so awful about it when I cry."
He didn't want to hurt her feelings. Unfortunately, she just refused to take no for an answer.
And so the two were on again, off again for 18 months.
She would come by his place when she was in town.
Just show up unannounced?
Absolutely.
As Shayna became more possessive, Ryan's exasperation and concern grew. In a text to his cousin, he wrote, "This is getting to be restraining order level crazy. She's shown up at my condo like 3 times and refuses to leave each time." He also complained about Shayna's obsessive behavior in a Facebook message to Allie.
Literally, probably the craziest person I have ever met. She almost scares me. I wish I had said, if she scares you or if she's crazy, just walk away.
Instead, he kept taking her back.
I think he was playing mind games with her.
Ryan's neighbor, Nikki Carnes, claims there's another side to this turbulent relationship. Shayna complained to her that Ryan was emotionally abusive.
She would always tell me that he would say she needed a boob job or a facelift, and that she was fat, she needed to lose some weight.
Why wouldn't she have left?
I guess because she was young, and she always told me she loved him. She picked up his laundry, she did his laundry, she took his dog out, she went and bought him food. She did everything for him.
Could there have been a Ryan that you didn't know?
No.
Someone that had a dark side?
No. In the 10 years I knew him, never once raised his voice. He's always been the same. Super nerdy, super sweet.
Ryan hoped Shayna had finally gotten the message when he told her he wasn't going to see her that weekend of October 12th, 2012. What he didn't tell her was that he had a date with a world-class beauty.
Ohio!
Audrey Bolte, Miss Ohio USA 2012, whom he also met on Facebook. But he did tell Allie, a former beauty pageant contestant herself, who knew Audrey.
She's very beautiful, very personable, and all that kind of stuff. So Ryan was the perfect match for her. He was really excited to go.
Ryan and Miss Ohio were supposed to meet at a bar that Friday night. But Shayna showed up at his condo, and Ryan never made it.
He beat me and tried to carry me out of the house, and I came back in to get my things, and he was right in front of me, and he reached down and grabbed the gun, and I grabbed it out of his hand and pulled the trigger. And how long ago did you shoot him? I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes, not even that long. Like 10 or 15 minutes ago? Yeah.
Someone shooting someone and then waiting 15 minutes to call. That in itself was bizarre.
Lieutenant Dave Fornash and his partner were the first to arrive on the scene.
I want you to go to your front door. I want you to open it up, walk outside the door with your hands in front of you.
Okay, I will.
In your
We
hands.
instructed her to get on the ground. As I entered the apartment, I saw Ryan Poston's body on the floor in the dining room behind the dining room table.
Police escorted Shayna to the station knowing she had shot Ryan to death.
And I picked up the gun.
But was it to save her life, or had she entered Ryan's condo with a plan to take his? Even seasoned investigators could never have imagined what would unfold in the hours after Shayna Hubers killed Ryan Poston.
It was crazy. You just wouldn't believe it.
From the moment Lieutenant Dave Fornash brought her into that interrogation room, Shayna's behavior was bizarre.
Do you smoke?
I will, if I can.
As he started to leave, she started making noise as if she was crying or trying to cry or wailing.
I'll be with you in just a second. You're fine.
As soon as he walked out of the room, she stopped immediately.
Police Chief Bill Birkenhauer was immediately suspicious.
Like a light switch.
Exactly.
And what are you thinking when you see that?
Right off the bat, I'm thinking that she's, pretending. She wasn't crying. No tears came out of her eyes.
Says you have the right to remain silent.
Shayna was then read her rights. And although she asked to see a lawyer,
I do want an attorney.
Okay, so I can't ask you any questions at all.
she found it impossible
I was so out of it.
to remain silent.
I was like, it's in self-defense, but I killed him, and can you come to the scene?
Shayna talked constantly.
I was raised really, really Christian, and murder is a sin.
It just seemed like she was constantly just babbling.
You have very pretty teeth. Did you have orthodontia?
She talked so much that the officers were wanting to leave the room.
If I had to go to jail, can you shower there? Or do you just get really dirty?
They were switching off so they wouldn't get burnt out.
What are they going to do with me?
I don't know. They just told me to come here and sit with you.
For almost 3 hours, Shayna told anyone who would listen about an alleged history of abuse by Ryan,
He's pulled guns on me as jokes before.
leading up to a fight in which she says she feared for her life.
And I shot him in self-defense because he's done stuff before where I've hit my head on a headboard and could have died.
But the more she talked, the more her words would come back to haunt her.
This story never stayed the same.
Beginning with exactly how Ryan's gun ended up in her hands.
And he was screaming at me, telling me I was hillbilly, that he hates me.
By all accounts, Ryan, who owns several guns and was licensed to carry, had a habit of placing his handgun on the dining room table after coming home from work.
And I just picked up the gun, and in the middle of him doing something with his arm or saying something crazy, shot him.
This time, she told police that she picked up the gun off the table while Ryan was yelling at her. But remember, Shayna had told the 911 operator a different story about wrestling the gun away from him.
And he reached down and grabbed the gun, and I grabbed it out of his hand and pulled the trigger.
But Shayna didn't stop at one bullet. As she described the final moments of Ryan's life, the details were beyond disturbing.
And he was laying with his face on the table, like twitching. And so I knew he was going to die. I walked around the table. And I think that's when I shot him in the head. I shot him probably 6 times. Shot him in the head. He fell onto the ground. He was like laying like this. His glasses were still on. He was twitching some more. I shot him a couple more times just to make sure he was dead, because I didn't want to watch him die.
She didn't say that she was worried about him suffering. She said that she couldn't stand to see that. That's why she finished him off.
If someone's wounded on the ground, someone that you love, wouldn't you attempt to resuscitate, to save, rather than shoot him?
Or call 911.
Instead, Shayna admitted she waited at least 10 minutes to call for help.
If we were to pause right now for 10 minutes, it would be interminable to this audience how long a period of time that is. And she's not calling 911. Why do you believe that's the case?
If he was to live, then he would have a story to tell.
He was helpless.
Prosecutor Michelle Snodgrass.
He laid there helpless, and she walked over and shot him again and again and again. That's not self-defense.
I knew he was going to die or have a completely deformed face. He's very vain and wants to get a nose job. Just that kind of person. And I shot him right here. I gave him his nose job. He wanted.
My jaw hit the floor, and I said to myself, did she really say that?
And Shayna had plenty more to say.
I did. Yes, I did.
Even when Shayna wasn't speaking, her actions spoke volumes to the investigators who were watching from the other room. Not only did she dance and twirl, she even sang Amazing Grace.
How do you respond to what we're looking at here is a woman in shock?
Someone who is in shock does not pirouette. Within hours of putting 6 bullets into Ryan Poston and watching him die, she danced and sang.
Here's what's going to happen right now, Shayna. Okay, with everything that we have, I'm gonna have to charge you with murder.
Shayna Hubers was arrested for murder.
What degree?
Murder. There's no degree.
Ryan had been shot 6 times.
Pretty much every side of his body he'd been shot at.
Doesn't that fit someone who fears for her life at that moment, that she's being attacked, that she has to use excessive force to put down the threat?
It more likely indicates somebody who's very angry.
The investigation was far from over. Shayna claims Ryan had a dangerous temper, and she can prove it.
The chessboard today is how it was on the day Ryan died, mid-game. with the pieces unchanged from where it was then.
Ryan Poston's friend, mentor, and chess rival, attorney Ken Hawley, relished those competitive matches that would sometimes stretch out over days.
And I haven't been able to let it go, really.
But now, that chessboard sits in his office, frozen in place, a metaphor for a life cut short.
When somebody is erased at an early age like that, you know, what has the world lost by not having the benefit of what they would have come to be?
Ken and his legal assistant, Lori Zimmerman, had offices in the same building as Ryan. They witnessed Shayna's obsessive behavior and the toll it took on him.
If she couldn't get him on his cell phone, she'd call the receptionist and ask for him, or she'd show up here. I mean, it was relentless.
She would text him 50 to 100 times a day. She would just wear him down and exhaust him to the point where he would say, "Okay, Shayna," and he just kept doing the easy thing, which was staying with her.
When Ryan left work for the last time, the evening of October 12, 2012, he told Lori about his big date.
And he said, with a big smile on his face, "I have a date with Miss Ohio tonight."
Ohio! His news gave Lori an uneasy feeling about Shayna.
And I said, I'm very nervous about what you're doing tonight because who knows what Shayna will do. You need to get her gone. I need you to call the police. I need you to call a locksmith. I need you to make it very final. And that was when he said, "Hey, Lori, I've got this. Don't you worry about me."
Hours later, Ryan was dead.
I knew she was a stalker. I thought that she was perfectly capable of causing a scene, but murder?
What do you think happened the night he died?
I think that she went over there, tried to talk him out of breaking up with her.
Ryan's friend, Allie Wagner.
And I think he just stood his ground for the first time. I think he just said, no, like this isn't working. I think she picked up the gun and shot him.
In her mind, this was a failure of sorts. And Shayna didn't fail. Shayna Hubers is someone who is used to getting her way.
The movie Fatal Attraction comes to mind.
You won't answer my calls, you change your number. I mean, I'm not gonna be ignored, Dan.
He was trying to break up with her, and I think that Shayna was not going to be broken up with.
Chief Birkenhauer says the proof is in an astonishing trove of texts and emails investigators discovered, in numbers unlike anything they'd ever seen.
Hundreds of thousands of messages.
Hundreds of thousands?
Yes, and most of the messages were from Shayna. For every one message Ryan sent, she probably sent 50. She couldn't stop herself.
Here it was, a look inside this tortured relationship. Back in February of 2012, 8 months before Ryan's death, he wrote Shayna, "You can tell people you broke up with me." Part of her reply, "I love you dearly, far more than you deserve." Then in March, Ryan pleaded, "Shayna, stop texting me." And in April, he texted, "I no longer have the patience to deal with you."
Now, Ryan's a bright guy. He's a lawyer. Why didn't he get a restraining order?
Well, under the law in Kentucky, he didn't qualify for a restraining order. The law in Kentucky basically requires the two to have been living together or to have been married.
Instead, Ryan tried to take matters into his own hands. Another text in April, this time from Ryan to his cousin. She came to my place on Sunday morning, and I literally had to pick her up and throw her into the hall. Still, Ryan just couldn't close the door on their relationship. The two were back together that summer, but things soured again in late August.
And Ryan texts Shayna, "I'm turning off the phone and padlocking the door." And then she keeps texting. There are at least 100 messages until finally, at some 9 hours later, under this barrage, Ryan says, "I'm not reading any of these. Stop." What does that tell you about Shayna's behavior?
Well, this goes back to she's obsessed with Ryan Poston.
Shayna once again showed up at his door. She had her own key.
Ryan had to leave his own condo and leave Shayna in there and go spend the night with his father because she would not leave and she continued arguing with him.
While the prosecution insists Ryan was the one being stalked and living in fear, Shayna told police that at times she was also afraid of him.
He keeps loaded guns in the house, has picked up a gun, pointed it at my face as a joke. What would you do if I...
A lot of information is going to come out about this relationship and about what happened that night.
Defense attorney John Paul Ryan.
This was not a case of anything but self-defense. This was a case where Shayna was acting to save her own dignity and her own safety.
The defense team claims there are plenty of Facebook messages Ryan sent his friends that show he was a young man consumed by anger. He'd had a falling out with his ex-law partner who was suing him.
August 16th, 2012, less than 2 months before he was shot and killed, he says, "And I want to rig explosives to everything I see."
Well, I don't think anybody's denying that Ryan wasn't going through an emotional time. He was upset about being sued by his former law partner. His rage was never in any of these messages directed at Shayna Hubers. Not one.
October 4th, 2012, Ryan writes this: "There's nothing I want more than to just scorch the effing earth and leave this entire city in a pile of burnt rubble." He's fantasizing about doing a violent act, and just days later, according to Shayna, he attacks her.
But that wasn't a violent act directed to any person. You have to put it in context. He does not say he wants to hurt a person.
Pressure is building up. He's got a girlfriend that won't let go. He finally snaps. Why shouldn't we believe that?
There's no evidence at the crime scene to indicate that Ryan Poston went after Shayna Hubers. Nothing was knocked over.
No signs of a struggle.
None.
Are you buying this notion of self-defense at all?
Not one bit. Not one bit.
These photos of Shayna taken after her arrest show some light bruising. But police still insist there's no evidence of a life or death struggle. Now, the young woman suspected of cold-blooded murder heads to court to ask a judge to let her out of jail.
This case was always, to me, about a senseless act. Senseless. Could never quite make sense of what happened on October 12th. I could never make sense of why Ryan Poston's life was ended.
Why couldn't Shayna Hubers, a brilliant and beautiful grad student, simply walk away from her troubled relationship with Ryan Poston?
I think it's really sad. It's kind of heartbreaking.
Shayna's childhood friend, Sarah Robinson, barely recognizes the sweet, kind-hearted girl she once knew.
I saw her mugshot. That was, I think, the first thing that I saw that really made me take a step back and just be like, oh my God.
What did it look like?
It looked like someone who was angry and like someone who had just been through hell.
It is June 10th, 2014, almost 2 years since Ryan's death. Shayna has remained in jail the entire time. She has hired a new defense team, led by David Mejia. At a bail hearing, they are joined by Shayna's mother, Sharon Hubers.
Shayna was in the gifted and talented program.
Sharon, a retired school teacher, is proud of her child's academic success.
She graduated cum laude in 3 years at the University of Kentucky. Shayna was pursuing a master's degree in school guidance counseling at the time of this tragedy.
And what do you want people to know? After reading that, what do you want them to know in relation to this case?
Shayna Hubers is not a child, a girl, a person that would murder someone, that would wake up and say, okay, I'm going to shoot somebody. And I want the world to know who Shayna is, and I want them to hear it from her mother.
Through Sharon's testimony, we also learn about the 24 hours leading up to Ryan's death. Thursday, October 11th, 2012, the night before Ryan died.
Welcome to the first and only vice presidential debate.
The vice presidential candidates were slugging it out in a televised debate. Ryan brought Shayna over to his mother and stepfather's place to watch it. And then she slept over at his condo.
If he wants to break up with her, talk about mixed signals, why is she staying the night at his place?
That is a question that I think a lot of people want an answer to. I don't know if it was part of Ryan's attempt to let her down easy. I just don't know.
Ryan had already said he didn't want to see her that weekend. Perhaps that's why a distraught Shayna called her mother from Ryan's shortly after 3 a.m.
Was she emotional, upset?
Yes, she wanted Mama, and yes, she was. I knew something was wrong.
Sharon says she met up with her daughter at Ryan's place around 5:30 that morning.
When he woke up, he saw that Shayna Huber's mom was inside his condo.
Shayna's mom was inside his condo?
Absolutely.
Had come in on her own?
In the middle of the night, had driven from Lexington to sit with her daughter.
She wanted to lay on the couch and put her feet in my lap, and she did.
Shayna's relationship with her mother, what was that like?
I think she was very close to her mom. I think her mom, for a good portion of her life, could have very well been her best friend.
That child has been a blessing to me. She's my whole life.
Sharon Hubers would like her daughter to be released to her custody, but prosecutor Michelle Snodgrass believes Shayna is a flight risk because of what she told police.
Part of me wanted to get my keys and get in the car and leave. Because I knew my word against his and he's dead. You know, how is anyone else to know that it's self-defense?
To get bail, Shayna needs to convince the judge that she's not a flight risk, and despite shooting Ryan, not a threat to society. On the stand, she paints a picture of herself as a model girlfriend.
Ryan was going through a lot and he needed moral support, and I was always good to him.
But she also suggests she had a reason to fear him, claiming Ryan was obsessed with guns.
Wherever you were in the house, you were always at an arm's length from a gun or a weapon of some sort.
And that concerned you?
Oh, yes. You know, just laying everywhere, he'd pick one up and shoot a book on a shelf or something. And did that with Shayna in the condo on numerous occasions.
Is it true that Ryan, on at least one occasion, did target practice inside his own condo?
We don't know if he did target practice inside his own condo. We do know that there was a book that had, you know, wood on it and some holes.
Bullet holes?
Yes.
He was always very careful in his handling of firearms.
Ryan's friend, Matt Herron, insists he was a responsible gun owner.
It was never something that I worried about.
But Shayna insists she was worried enough to shoot Ryan in self-defense. And she thought that when she explained it to police that night, they would release her.
I believed in my innocence and I wanted to see my mother and go home.
Now, the witness stand is about to turn into the hot seat.
He told you he needed to not be around you. Didn't he say that?
Ryan Poston's volatile relationship with Shayna Hubers had become a house of mirrors. Nothing was as it appeared. His friend Lori Zimmerman says that while the couple appeared to have reconciled in the weeks before his death, their romance was rocky.
He wasn't happy about dating Shayna Hubers again. From the very start, he was working to not date Shayna Hubers anymore.
Ryan's neighbor, Nikki Carnes, says from what she witnessed in the months leading up to Ryan's death, the relationship was toxic.
I was awoken out of my sleep by some screaming and yelling outside, and they were arguing. This is something that was happened quite often.
Was this a nasty argument?
Yeah.
Everyone has a breaking point. Had Ryan reached his?
I think Shayna reached hers.
Prosecutor Michelle Snodgrass believes rejection and rage sent Shayna over the edge. Snodgrass confronts her about Ryan's repeated attempts to break up with her.
Did he invite you over?
Which night?
Well, let's say the night you put 6 bullets in him. How about that night? Did he invite you over that night?
They'd broken up time and time again and gotten back together. Why did she get violent this time?
That's a good question. I think that she believed it was over for good, and she wasn't going to have that.
The fireworks continue at the bail hearing over Shayna's different accounts of how Ryan's gun ended up in her hands.
You told 911 that you had to grab the gun out of Mr. Poston's hand. Is that correct?
I did say that.
But you told the police something different, didn't you?
It was a handgun that I used. The gun was this big. I picked it up off the table. I did have to release the suit. I did. I remember it now. I can see it in my mind.
This is a 6-hour P238 .380 caliber semi-automatic handgun. This is the weapon that was used in the shooting of Ryan Poston. She released the safety, pointed the gun at Ryan Poston, and shot him in the right side of the head.
Chief Birkenhauer believes Shayna's admission that she released the safety on the gun is evidence of premeditation.
I believe as soon as she released the safety, she made the decision that she was going to kill him. It is a sign, in my opinion, that she had time to think about it.
Show me how she released the safety.
The safety, which right there, you can't pull the trigger. In order to make this gun operate, you have to release the safety. Now the gun's ready to go, and then you just pull the trigger. It is an extra step that you have to think about.
The gun itself also contained critical forensic evidence, a trace of Ryan's blood.
And what did that tell you?
One or more of the shots were so close to the body, when the trigger was pulled, the blood came out and it landed on the gun.
Meaning, Chief Birkenhauer believes that Shayna moved closer to Ryan for the final kill shots.
There was never a time after the first shot that he was on his feet.
But Shayna now insists it was Ryan who was moving towards her, despite what she told police after Ryan's death.
He was still moving. He was still coming toward me.
First 2 shots we thought were firecrackers, and then there was 4 more, and then we knew it was gunshots.
Ryan's downstairs neighbors, Vernon and Doris West, heard gunshots that night, but no fight.
And what was the sequence of the shots?
Bang, 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 bang.
Did either of you hear any arguing in that condo above you? Did you hear any shouting?
Never.
Never did. Never did, sir.
No.
If there had been a fight going on up there, a physical struggle between the two of them, Shayna being thrown across the floor, would you have heard it?
Yes.
I believe I would, yes.
The prosecutor insists that even if Shayna initially thought Ryan was a danger to her, she didn't need to keep shooting him.
She had the door behind her with no obstructions. Why didn't she just go?
The defense maintains that Kentucky's so-called stand your ground law says a person does not have a duty to retreat prior to the use of deadly physical force. But the prosecutor believes Shayna's decision to keep shooting proves a murderous intent.
She knew that Ryan Poston had somewhere else that he had to be and someone else that he was meeting, and she wasn't going to let that happen.
In his questioning of Shayna, defense attorney David Mejia turns the table on the prosecution, driving home Shayna's contention that she had to use deadly force to save herself.
Now, what did you believe would happen if he got up after having been shot twice?
He would shoot me. He would hurt me.
As you well know, Shayna has been portrayed as strangely obsessive, a liar, a murderer.
It's been horrible. She grew up in the church. She's not a murderer.
The word evil has been used to describe your daughter.
She's far from evil. Shayna has a heart of gold. She's like her mommy, a loving spirit. That's what I want the world to know.
In the end, Judge Fred Stein sets bail at $1.5 million, too much for Shayna's parents to afford. Now, as the case heads to trial, how will the defense team overcome the one witness who could destroy any claims of self-defense? That witness, the twirling, singing, loquacious Shayna Hubers.
If you go to jail, are you allowed to keep your phone?
"48 Hours." Don't miss an episode. This special two-part edition of 48 Hours continues.
You solemnly swear or affirm that statement you're about to make be the truth, the whole truth.
I don't know why, where in her life something steered her so wrong to make her become so obsessive.
Ryan Poston was trying to end the relationship with Shayna. She was obsessed with him.
How did Shayna and Ryan meet?
They met on Facebook.
What was the attraction, you think?
Well, you've seen pictures of them. They're both beautiful people. And in addition to that, they're both very intelligent. He was a young lawyer who had a great practice that was starting. He was kind, and he was compassionate.
I think she had a goal in the beginning to make him settle down with her, and when she wasn't becoming successful, that became a problem.
Ryan was the one that initiated, "I love you, Shayna." I really thought that he meant it. I really thought that he did.
She wouldn't stop texting him, obsessively texting him, and he would not respond, except to say, "If you do not stop, I'm turning off my phone. And in fact, I'm going to padlock my door." She showed up unannounced all the time. Ryan said that Shayna was restraining order crazy.
Campbell County 911. Ma'am, I killed my boyfriend in self-defense.
6 shots rang out in this condo. Police say it was murder, but Shayna Hubers claims she defended herself against a man with a violent temper.
He was right in front of me, and he reached down and grabbed the gun, and I grabbed it out of his hand and pulled the trigger.
Ryan didn't beat on me every day, but he did put hands on me a handful of times.
She said she gave him the nose job that he wanted.
I knew he was going to die or have a completely deformed face. He's very vain and wants to get a nose job. Just that kind of person. And I shot him right here. I gave him his nose job he wanted.
I don't know what more you can say after that.
I don't know if anyone will ever want to marry me if they know that I killed a boyfriend in self-defense.
Okay, what was his name?
The man that I killed, Ryan Carter Poston.
In April 2015, 2.5 years after Shayna Huber's gunned down her on-again, off-again boyfriend, Ryan Poston, her trial is set to begin. Central to both the prosecution and the defense will be what Shayna told police.
And I just picked up the gun, and in the middle of him doing something with his arm or saying something crazy, shot him.
Shayna claims she shot Ryan in self-defense during a heated confrontation at his condo. Prosecutor Michelle Snodgrass contends that the only person whose life was in danger on October 12, 2012 was Ryan Poston.
I think in the midst of that, my love turned to hate.
My love turned to hate. I think at that point in time, we knew what Shayna Hubers was thinking. And it certainly wasn't that she needed to act out of fear. She acted out of hate.
Prosecutors say trouble had been brewing long before that tragic day. Ryan's cousin, Carissa Carlisle, who was also Shayna's friend, testified about the tumultuous relationship.
He said to me, "This is getting to be restraining order level crazy. I'm not kidding. You need to talk to her. She needs help." And I say that without exaggeration. She just really needs help.
What did you learn about Shayna's personality?
The word obsessive is a good word for her.
An obsession that Police Chief Bill Birkenhauer says can be seen in the thousands of text messages Shayna sent Ryan.
We know from text messages back and forth that when Ryan would end it, sometimes Shayna would just show back up and not leave.
Refuse to leave?
Yes, refuse to leave.
By the fall of 2012, investigators believe Shayna was nearing a breaking point. 11 days before the shooting, Shayna sent a friend an ominous text.
She says when she goes to the shooting range with Ryan tonight, she wants to turn around, shoot and kill him, and play like it's an accident.
Shayna texted similar disturbing comments to another friend and sent a gun-toting picture.
She was already making a plan to make sure Ryan did not leave her.
The state believes Shayna confronted him at his condo because Ryan had told her he didn't want to see her that weekend. Although investigators don't doubt an argument took place, they saw no evidence of the violent struggle Shayna had described.
He was throwing me around the room, like picking me up and like had my face and stuff.
Shayna claimed Ryan had also thrown her against this bookshelf.
As you can see, this bookcase is covered with items that would have shifted, that would have been in a different position. A number of pipes along that shelf, some bullets on this shelf. And if you look at this photograph that shows a little bit of a closer angle, none of them are disturbed.
But what really made investigators skeptical about Shayna's story
I know what happened.
was her claim that at one point during their clash, Ryan had locked himself in his bedroom.
So what was Miss Huber's Googling how to do it?
She first Googled how to unlock a house door with a bobby pin. That was a Google search.
She found a way to unlock his bedroom door and get in there.
By now, the argument had moved into the dining room, with Ryan on one side of the table and Shayna standing on the other side. Ryan's loaded handgun was on the table.
He was screaming at me, telling me I was a hillbilly, that he hates me, that he hates my speaking voice, I hate everything about you.
The jury would hear Shayna's own account of the shooting.
And he had his hand on the table, and he wasn't completely standing up. He was like this. He was sitting, he was enough that when I shot him, he went like this. Literally. That's when I knew he was dead. Or close to it, and twitching.
Despite Shayna's description that Ryan was nearly dead after the first shot, she went on to shoot him 5 more times. But the defense maintains Ryan was still a threat.
He was moving when these shots were fired.
The prosecution doesn't buy it, and they say they have the science to prove it.
All right, have a seat.
Forensic expert Howard Ryan testifies that Shayna's first shot was to Ryan Poston's head, a significant fact because there was no blood on the front of his shirt.
If he was in an upright position, the gravity would have brought it down, straight down the shirt and through the pants, from the bottom of the shirt to the pants.
Using the very blood-stained table taken from Ryan Poston's condo,
how do you think this went down?
Snodgrass demonstrates why investigators are convinced that Ryan was sitting and never stood up after the first shot.
When she shoots him in the right forehead, at that point in time, his head goes down on the table. As you can see, this exposes the upper portion of his right back, which we believe was the second shot. At that same time as well, his right arm is dangling, which again opens up the area where the third shot occurred, which was under his right arm.
And where's his body going?
And then at that point in time, Ryan starts to fall out of the chair. He ultimately ends up laying on the floor.
While Ryan was down on the floor, Snodgrass says Shayna then finished him off.
He was helpless. That's not self-defense.
And raise your right.
To bolster their case, the prosecution calls 3 jailhouse informants who befriended Shayna behind bars.
Are you a convicted felon?
Yes.
Yes, I am.
Yes, I am.
The women, who have a history of drug abuse and multiple arrests, say they came forward because Shayna had shown no remorse. They deny receiving any special treatment for their testimony.
And what did she say had really happened?
What really happened? That she was the aggressor in the fight.
She said she was going to plead insanity, but then she said that she was too smart because she has an IQ of Einstein, and so she was going to plead the wife battered syndrome.
Okay.
And say that he beat her.
I see no remorse. She played more the victim role.
According to this last informant, Shayna knew that Ryan had a date with this woman.
Ohio!
Former Miss Ohio USA, Audrey Bolte.
We were going to meet at a local bar and grab a few drinks and play pool and just have a low-key fun time.
Shayna Huber strongly denies she knew about the planned date. As the state's case winds down, Ryan's parents tell the jury of their profound loss.
Ryan was my world. When people would ask me about my child, I wouldn't say that he was beautiful, even though he was, or he was brilliant, even though he was. I would say my son has a kind heart.
I can tell you one thing. I was the luckiest woman on earth for 30 years.
But the defense is about to turn the tables on the prosecution.
That child has been a blessing to me. She's my whole life. My life didn't happen until Shayna was born.
Retired school teacher Sharon Hubers can't comprehend how her daughter stands charged with murder. Now she's poised to stand by her only child as the defense puts on its case.
Shayna Hubers has never said anything to anybody in this case other than, I had to do it to save my life. I did this in self-defense.
Defense attorney David Mejia doesn't deny that Shayna Hubers shot and killed Ryan Poston. But he must now convince the jury that Ryan was the aggressor that night.
Is the defense ready to proceed?
Defense calls Mrs. Sharon Hubers.
Sharon Hubers.
Sharon is the first to take the stand.
Will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
She wants everyone to know about her wonderful daughter.
She enrolled at Eastern Kentucky University. She decided she wanted to be a school guidance counselor.
In every way, she's been brilliant.
Sharon then testifies about the time leading up to Ryan's death, describing that frantic call from her daughter shortly after 3 a.m. some 18 hours before Ryan was shot. Shayna was at Ryan's and complained of chest pains.
She was sick. She was in pain. There was fear in her voice.
Later that day, clearly feeling better, Shayna and her mother went shopping. But much of that time, Shayna was furiously texting Ryan, writing in part, "I'm being placed on medicine that will help my blood pressure." And later, "I am so thankful that my mom came and took me to the doctor."
None of it was true?
None of it was true.
Why was she saying these things?
To get his sympathy. If he felt sorry for her, then maybe she still had a chance.
That evening, Sharon left Shayna in front of Ryan's condo complex. Hours later, she receives another frantic call. Ryan was dead. She reveals to the jury that Shayna called her first before calling 911.
She was hysterical, terrified, in shock.
What were your words to Shayna?
Shayna, call 911 and tell them where you are and exactly what happened.
Why would Shayna call mom instead of the police after this traumatic experience and having to shoot her boyfriend?
I have no idea why she would do that. This is the only thing that I can surmise from it, is that she was trying to come up with her defense.
He threw me across the room, and I was very startled. I was laying on the floor.
The night of October 12, 2012, the defense argues Ryan Poston had reached his boiling point.
And he's got a lawsuit confronting him that he can't take.
He was being sued by his former law partner. They point to Facebook messages he sent weeks before he died.
Referring to the man who's suing him, Ryan writes, "I want this piece of S destroyed. Bury him neck deep at low tide. Throw darts at his head." That's a threat.
I don't know if it's a threat or if it's a comment about his dislike for the individual that he's talking about.
The defense maintains these messages show Ryan had a dangerous temper, fueled by drugs he was prescribed. 8 months before his murder, he wrote to a friend, "The stuff they put me on fills me with rage from what I can tell."
And he was taking some pretty strong drugs.
Ryan's friend, Allie Wagner, says Ryan had turned to the drugs to cope with the stress of the lawsuit.
He said, "I'm taking Adderall to wake up and I'm taking Xanax to go to bed."
But she insists he was still the same guy she met 10 years earlier.
He was still normal. I mean, I saw him the day before he died, and he was fine.
All right, would you call your witness, please?
Dr. Saeed Jortani.
Saeed Jortani.
Now, a toxicologist takes the stand.
Sir, if you would have a seat.
Who says the mixing of those prescription drugs could have frightening effects.
What these drugs do, they basically cause incidents of behavioral discontrol and hostile outbursts.
The defense contends Ryan snapped, attacking Shayna.
And then this look came out of his eyes. It was like capable of anything. And he takes, I think I told you, he takes like a lot of drugs.
Mejia reminds jurors what he believes happened, that Ryan Poston was standing and moving when Shayna shot him 6 times.
Even Shayna's own words do not support the theory that was presented in court. She never said that he was standing.
I walked around the table. And I think that's when I shot him in the head. I shot him probably 6 times. Shot him in the head. He fell onto the ground. He was like laying like this. His glasses were still on. He was twitching some more. I shot him a couple more times just to make sure he was dead.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly
A former medical examiner for the state of Kentucky, Dr. George Nichols, testifies Ryan could still have been a threat to Shayna, even after he was shot.
He could move. The chest wounds, the front and back wounds, The armpit wounds, they would not cause him to lose the ability to walk at least some, or move some.
Shayna Hubers, the young woman who couldn't stop talking to police, doesn't take the stand, but her attorney will demonstrate
The gun is on the table.
how he believes the shooting went down.
Her statement was, he reached for the gun, and I grabbed it. Self-defense.
As closing arguments begin, defense attorney David Mejia mocks the prosecution's claim that Shayna Hubers' obsession led to Ryan's murder.
She keeps calling her boyfriend, and he can't get rid of her. She's a murderer. She keeps hounding him with texts and emails, and so she's a cold-blooded murderer. Are you buying that?
Now, in a case that never lacks drama,
We're going to take a moment to bring out the table.
Mejia reenacts Ryan's shooting with co-counsel Rachel Nugent playing the role of Shayna Hubers.
Her statement was, he reached for the gun, and I grabbed it. First shot to the head, as he's reaching down to her as she's below him.
But in a dueling demonstration,
Again, the evidence doesn't lie.
prosecutor Michelle Snodgrass argues that Mejia's theory is not supported by the forensic evidence.
The trajectory was in a downward angle. There is no way that from the ground that shot occurred. It's just not physically possible.
Snodgrass wants jurors to focus on Shayna's behavior, which she likens to a performance.
When the cops walk out of the room, watch what the actress does.
Do you smoke?
I will. I can.
All right, you can have a seat. I'll get you a cigarette too. Okay? I'll be with you in just a second. You're fine.
The minute he walks out of the room, the crime stops. That's the actress.
Within hours of putting 6 bullets into Ryan Poston and watching him die, she danced and sang.
I did. Yes, I did.
She's shown us that she's a liar. She's shown us that she's a manipulator. And most importantly, what she showed us on October 12th, 2012 is that she's a murderer.
The case goes to the jury shortly before 6:30 p.m. on April 23, 2015. Family and friends anxiously wait as deliberations go late into the night. Then, just before 11:30, a verdict is reached. It is time for Shayna to learn her fate.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Shayna Hubers, guilty of murder.
Guilty. 24-year-old Shayna Hubers, once a promising graduate student, is now a convicted murderer. For Ryan's family, there is enormous relief that justice has been served. For Shayna's mother, there is shock and disbelief.
What was that moment like for you when you heard guilty?
That's difficult to explain, Peter, because I was terrified and it was surreal. I didn't see how on earth that it could have been that could have been the outcome.
Court reconvenes the next morning, as jurors will now hear testimony from both sides to determine Shayna's sentence. Her lawyers ask the jury for lenience.
The accomplishments, the good deeds, should not and cannot be ignored.
All right, Ms. Carter, would you raise your right hand?
Katie Carter, one of Ryan's sisters, takes the stand to share her heartache.
He made us complete. And without him, there is always a chair that's going to be empty. He will never be able to get married. He'll never be able to have kids. He will never be able to have all the things that he deserved to have in his life.
It takes the jury only about an hour to make its recommendation.
We, the jury, fix the defendant Shayna Huber's punishment for the offense of murder at 40 years confinement in the penitentiary.
40 years. The judge will later decide whether to accept the jury's suggested sentence. For Ryan's parents, it doesn't ease the pain of their loss.
It's a shallow victory. Our son is dead. I'm so sorry.
Never for 1 second did we ever think that there was any physical violence from a young man who had a kind and gentle heart.
3 months later, they are back in court for a hearing.
We are here on a number of issues, folks.
The defense wants a shorter sentence for Shayna, so they're trying to prove that she was a victim of domestic violence at the hands of Ryan. That would make her eligible for parole after serving 8 years. But first, under Kentucky law, the defense must prove the two lived together despite what she told police.
I don't live with him.
Okay, is that his address?
That's his place.
Okay, what's your address, sweetheart?
Shayna had an apartment in Lexington, more than 80 miles away. Now she takes the stand, trying to convince the judge she was Ryan's live-in girlfriend by reading texts the two sent each other.
Shayna says, "I'm gonna fry boneless chicken breasts for dinner. Does that sound good?" Ryan says, "That sounds good."
But the prosecutor confronts Shayna with evidence that she was also seeing other men.
Were you with 10 other men during this whole time that we're talking about? 2012, 10 different men.
How are you saying was I with them? Like, are you saying was I friends with them?
If
Did
I
I
can
sleep with them?
you slept with 10 different men during 2012.
In answer to your question, sure, I may have slept with 10 guys in 2012, but I don't see how that's relevant to any of the.
The judge finds that Shayna and Ryan were not domestic partners. It's now up to the judge to issue his final sentence, and the defense will make one last desperate call for mercy. It has been nearly 3 years since Shayna Huber shot Ryan Poston, including a final bullet as he helplessly twitched on the floor.
All right, how many witnesses do each side propose for sentencing?
Now, at her sentencing hearing, her defense team wants to make sure the judge hears about Ryan's alleged history of aggressive behavior.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the statement you're about to make will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Did she ever approach you and discuss with you any acts of violence between her and Ryan?
Yes.
In a story not told at trial,
They were out there arguing.
Ryan's neighbor, Nikki Carnes, says a few months before the murder, Shayna came to her in tears.
She had came to my door crying, and her arm, probably from like here to here, she had a big red mark on her arm. She said that Ryan had slammed her arm in the door and threw her on the floor in the hallway.
And when she told you this story, what did you see on her face?
She was clearly upset. There were handprints on her arm.
But Shayna's cellmate, Holly Nivens, testified at trial that Shayna made the whole thing up.
She would purposely pull her arms up so the neighbors would see bruises on her arms.
Did she say how the bruises got there?
She inflicted them.
I'm sorry.
She inflicted them on herself.
And sir, I'll remind you, you're still under oath, all right?
Defense expert psychologist Ed Connor, who evaluated Shayna, diagnosed her with narcissism and low self-esteem.
I think Shayna was a person who had extreme difficulty with rejection and tolerating it.
Anything else?
Let's call Shayna Hubers.
Ms. Hubers, come forward, please.
Now it's up to Shayna to convince the judge that somehow she deserves sympathy.
It's sad when someone pushes you away and pulls you back in and pushes you away and pulls you back in. There were times when he had my head going 10 different directions to where I didn't even know if that was my boyfriend or not, or what he was to me.
Shayna seems filled with resentment.
I feel like I was led on. I feel like I was manipulated, used, and abused. And no, Ryan didn't beat on me every day. I'm not gonna sit up here and exaggerate and lie and say that he did, but he did put hands on me a handful of times.
And I guess we're just so
Prosecutor Michelle Snodgrass circles back to what she believes is at the heart of this case: rejection.
Isn't it true that you sat here and you heard Dr. Connor say that you do not take rejection well?
Dr. Connor did say that I don't take rejection.
You were rejected. Whether it had been earlier in the day when Ryan told you, I don't want to see you, whether it was the other times where he said, you know, we're done, this is it, no more, I need space, you were rejected by him not just once, but many times.
If I killed Ryan over rejection, he would have been dead almost 2 years prior.
I asked you if you were rejected by him.
Sure, I've been rejected. I've been rejected.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
But if that were motive, there'd be a graveyard full of
Further,
men.
Your Honor.
All right.
Did Shayna's plan to persuade the court to be lenient backfire?
I've never claimed to be perfect.
As court reconvenes, she offers an apology for the first time.
And I'm sorry to my family, and I'm sorry to my friends for letting them down. I am sorry for the money that my parents have had to spend on attorneys.
But the young woman who is diagnosed a narcissist never apologizes to Ryan's family. Instead, she talks about herself.
I do want to help people. I do want to be something better, and I do want to continue to grow and learn, and I just don't think that a 40-year sentence will help me. I don't think it would benefit me any. I don't think that it would rehabilitate me any.
Now it's Judge Fred Stein's turn to speak. And he has some choice words for Shayna.
What I think happened in that apartment was little more than cold-blooded murder. It's probably as cold-blooded an act as I've been associated with in the criminal justice system in the 30-plus years I've been in it.
He upholds the jury's recommended sentence of 40 years.
And that's about all there is to say.
As Ryan's family leaves the courthouse, they can barely contain their anger.
Is there anything you'd want to say to Shayna?
Oh, God, no. Rotten hell. She is going where she deserves to be. Where she's going, her mommy can't help her.
Mommy will always be there.
Shayna's mother will never accept that her beloved, brilliant daughter is anything but a victim who had to defend herself.
I'll draw my last breath helping that baby. She doesn't deserve this. She's done nothing wrong.
But this emotional roller coaster is not over. 1 year after Shayna's conviction, there was a dramatic development no one predicted.
A judge orders a new trial today for Shayna Hubers.
Today, she learned she will get a new trial.
Shayna is granted a new trial after her lawyer discovers a member of the original jury was a felon. According to Kentucky law, he should have been barred from serving.
We will jump through as many hoops as we have to jump through to get justice for my son. If we have to do this 100 times, we'll do it 100 times.
Ryan Poston's family is braced to endure more painful testimony. And Shayna Hubers is about to show just how far she'll go
Ma'am, would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear?
to win back her freedom.
He began beating my body with the door over and over and over.
The Campbell County Grand Jury charges that
Shayna Hubers' second trial begins on August 14th, 2018, almost 6 years after Ryan Poston's death.
the defendant committed the offense of murder.
A lot has changed. Shayna is now 27 and married. In a brief jailhouse ceremony in June, Shayna wed a convicted drug trafficker named Richard McBee. The two somehow met at the Campbell County Jail, where they were both locked up. In yet another twist, McBee sometimes identifies as a transgender woman named Unique Taylor. You may recall after killing Ryan, Shayna worried about finding love.
I don't know if anyone will ever want to marry me if they know that I killed a boyfriend and felt.
Now, newlywed Shayna is back in court. And that same disturbing interview with police remains the strongest evidence against her.
He's very vain and wants to get a nose job. Just that kind of person. And I shot him right here. I gave him his nose job. He wanted it.
Ryan is very aggressive with her.
The defense, led this time by attorney David Eldridge, is again claiming Ryan was abusive.
What started out that evening as a normal evening ended that night with Mr. Poston being both sexually and physically violent.
Eldridge takes the jury on an X-rated journey to prove his case.
She could not reach orgasm when they had sex. It is a constant criticism of Mr. Poston.
Okay, your next witness?
Called Shayna Hughes.
It's a risky move.
Ma'am, would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear?
But Shayna takes the stand, telling graphic tales of rough sex.
And I started to bleed, and it was painful.
That sometimes turn kinky against her will.
Ryan did something I didn't want him to do.
How did that experience make you feel?
It felt degrading.
She claims Ryan often humiliated her.
He told me that it was unattractive that I couldn't orgasm.
Despite the passage of time, Shayna easily recalls specific dates.
It was May of 2011, maybe November the 12th, January of 2012.
And details of alleged unprovoked abuse by Ryan.
I was woken up to him just pushing me out of the bed, and he just started screaming at me.
Why would Shayna stay with Ryan?
Borderline personality disorder is a chronic, long-term condition.
Defense psychologist Thomas Schacht says she has a personality disorder and PTSD from childhood sexual abuse. But there are no police reports to support Shayna's claims.
Ms. Huber's psychological condition was seriously abnormal.
Shayna admits she did not handle their breakups well.
I would often send him countless text messages.
Did you ever show up at his condominium uninvited?
Yes.
When she showed up at his condo the night of October 12, 2012, Shayna claims Ryan exploded in anger and attacked her.
He picked me up and threw me from the doorway of his bedroom into the other room. He screamed at me, "You're a person, and you're a person because you were touched when you were a little girl."
After the fight had moved into the dining area, Shayna says she was left crying on the floor.
And he was reaching across the table, and I don't know if he was reaching for the gun or reaching for me, but I was still sitting on the floor at this point in time. And I got up off the floor, and I grabbed the gun, and I shot him.
It's not the same story Shayna told when she called 911.
And he reached down and grabbed the gun, and I grabbed it out of his hand and pulled the trigger.
Prosecutor Michelle Snodgrass pounces.
So we can make sure we get this right. Your story was different.
After all these years, I really don't remember the 911 call.
But you remember every other detail? Every other detail of relationship that started in 2011.
Snodgrass confronts Shayna with other inconsistencies.
And in fact, you oftentimes described Ryan to your friends as being calm, didn't you?
Ryan could be calm at times.
You told him that he was patient and kind.
Ryan was sometimes patient, kind, and nice, yes. Sometimes he wasn't.
You want to tell the jury what you told your friend about?
She points out Shayna was a willing participant in the kinky sex.
Isn't it true that you told multiple friends how it was the best sex of your life.
I'm sure I said that.
The way he looked at you was unreal. You said that.
I'll take your word for it. I don't remember it, but yes.
I shot him probably 6 times.
And Snodgrass reminds Shayna of what she told police after pumping 6 bullets into Ryan.
He was twitching some more. I shot him a couple more times just to make sure he was dead because I didn't want to watch him die.
And you told officers that it was too painful for you.
I said that.
To sit and watch him twitch.
Now, 6 years later, that story has changed as well.
I also, when I first shot him, wasn't sure where the shots had entered or if I had just made him more angry.
Ladies and gentlemen, the respective parties have rested their cases.
The jury deliberates for nearly 5 hours, and then
We, the jury, find the defendant, Shayna Hubers, guilty of murder.
Shayna Hubers is guilty of the murder of Ryan Poston for a second time. The jury reconvenes the next day to decide on a sentence.
Ryan had a heart of gold. He never, ever left me without kissing me on the cheek and telling me he loved me.
Once again, Ryan's father and sister have to find the words to describe their loss.
This is Ryan's shirt.
I'm sorry, but I'm unavailable right now. If you could leave a message, I will call you back as soon as possible. Thank you.
That's it. That's all we have on voicemail.
Shayna's devastated mother hopes the jury will show mercy.
My child's life has also been taken. Her family also grieves. I'm not lessening or taking away from or trying to say that I don't understand the grief of this family, because I do.
But the defense's bid for leniency fails.
We, the jury, fix the defendant, Shayna Hubers' punishment for the offense of murder at life imprisonment.
A life sentence, more than the 40-year sentence Shayna received at her first trial. Ryan's family is relieved.
This is justice.
This is justice from the system. There's never closure.
There will never be closure. He'll never walk through that door again.
No.
And they will always wonder about what might have been.
I will forever miss the possibilities. We will never know the incredible possibilities that Ryan Poston would have given to this earth. He was a tremendously gifted young man.
It was 7 a.m. I don't know whether it was the house alarm that woke me up or the gunfire. I had no idea what was going on and what had happened until I heard my mother screaming, and then more shots, and they were pretty rapid. I heard a real lot of dry firing. I knew that the gun was empty, and I went far enough to be able to see into the bathroom, and I saw my father laying on the floor with blood. I can still see my father every time I close my eyes.
911 emergency.
Yes, this is Admiral Scope Security. I'm calling in because we have a dead person at 408 Mariner.
Mr. Horowitz was a 66-year-old gentleman who was found deceased in his home on September 30th of 2011.
Did he shoot himself?
That's what it sounds like to me.
Okay, so he committed suicide.
Correct.
Impossible. Never believed the suicide for 10 seconds. Everybody loved Lanny. My brother had a lot to live for. Nobody lived like Lanny. He lived like royalty.
There's only two people in the house, Radley and his mother, Donna. Donna and Lanny had been married, divorced, and remarried, and divorced again.
Well, I don't know who killed Lanny Horowitz, but I know it wasn't Donna.
My father did some really, really awful stuff to me and to my mother.
Rad did not like his father one bit. He hated him. Absolutely hated him.
He was an absolute, just evil bastard.
Did you shoot Dad?
No, absolutely not.
There were a lot of guns in the house. I've never seen that many guns in someone's house.
All three of them were gun aficionados, including Donna.
This family puts the fun in dysfunctional.
Not only was he murdered with such indifference. He died like Caesar, surrounded by enemies.
It boils down to a motive as old as time, and that's love, hate, and obsession.
I still want to know exactly what happened that morning.
Radley Horowitz was asleep at his parents' Jupiter, Florida home on September 30th, 2011, when he woke up to a nightmare.
I jumped out of bed and heard, I don't know how many shots.
Disoriented and defenseless, with the house alarm blaring, Radley stayed in his room, not knowing if the shooter would make him the next target.
I was basically pacing back and forth in my room like a trapped rat, and I was afraid to go out that door there.
You don't know who's been shot? You don't know who's got the gun in their hands?
I could hear my mom screaming my name.
When the shooting stopped, Radley rushed down the hall into his parents' bedroom. He looked into the master bathroom and saw his father, 66-year-old Lanny Horowitz.
I was scared and I ran out of there. He looked like he was certainly beyond any help.
When you came out, what was your mother's state? Was she sobbing? Was she panicked? Was she what?
She was hysterical.
Radley says he then left his mother, Donna, so he could turn off that house alarm. A security officer in this gated community rushed to the house.
He was at the door in a flash.
Security made that 911 call.
We had an alarm go off over there, and our medic responded.
I received a call to respond to Admiral's Cove for a death investigation, possible suicide.
Detective Eric Frank of the Jupiter Police Department responded and found 3 family members that lived at the home.
There was Lanny's ex-wife, Donna. They actually were divorced, but they were still living together. Their son, Radley, lived with them.
Frank spoke to Luis Garcia, the Admiral's Cove security guard who found Lanny with the gun in his hand and was one of the few to speak to Donna that morning.
I said, was anything going on last night? She said, he said he was going to do this. And I said, what, kill himself? She said, yes.
There was blood everywhere. It was very hard to determine what were gunshot wounds at that point. Once I stepped into the bathroom and looked back towards the shower door, you can plainly see the bullet hole through the glass and through the towel that was hanging over the door. And that made me stop everyone where we were and say something's wrong here.
It wasn't until the coroner moved Lanny's body 10 hours later that it became clear this was no suicide. Lanny had been shot 9 times.
Based on our investigation, Lanny was shot while he was in the shower first, And as he's getting out of the shower, he was shot multiple additional times to where he fell and was basically executed on that floor.
Violent crimes are almost unheard of in this wealthy development called Admiral's Cove.
Admiral's Cove is a beautiful development. Lanny had a beautiful home on the water, and it was a prestigious place to live.
Lanny's older brother, Barry.
They call me Captain Barry.
And Captain Barry is never seen without his signature captain's hat. He says at one time, Lanny and Donna lived a life most people would envy.
They had homes all over the country. They were able to travel all over the world. He had sailboats, he had airplanes. Anything life could offer was there for them.
Your brother was a business whirlwind, wasn't he? I mean, incredibly gifted businessman.
Absolutely, I won't argue with that. Lanny was a millionaire at a very early age. At 16, he was a real estate salesman for my father, who did commercial real estate. Within a short time, he became a real estate broker, and he took to it like nothing I've ever seen.
The only thing Lanny seemed to make time for was his high school sweetheart, Donna.
Donna was a knockout. I think Lanny was obsessed. He loved her. He didn't want to date anybody else, and they were always together.
The lovebirds married in 1967.
It was a great home life. My parents were the greatest people in the world.
Donna was a stay-at-home mom, and Radley was their only child. But after 30 years of marriage, his parents' relationship became a soap opera.
Your parents were first married in Buffalo in 1967.
Correct, yes.
Divorced in May of 2001, remarried in September 2001, and then divorced again in June 2002.
That sounds about right. It was a roller coaster, yes.
What led to the first divorce?
My mother felt that she was being ignored and wound up getting picked up by a fellow that worked there that was a security guard. My father was so incensed and disgusted.
But after 9 years of seeing each other sporadically, the on-again, off-again couple reconciled in 2011, as described in Donna's day planner turned journal. She called Lanny by her pet name, Lanbo. So happy Lanbo and I are getting back together. By April 2011, Donna had moved back into the Admiral's Cove house with Lanny and Radley, a single dad who worked for his father.
And my father's line was, we're all going to be a family again. It did not work out that way, and my father's behavior towards her very, very much changed. He had never forgiven her for leaving him. That was very obvious, and personality-wise, he could be a difficult person to get along with.
But Radley could never imagine his parents' relationship coming to such a violent end, he says, if it wasn't for this woman.
My parents had their ups and downs and their problems, but this never would have happened if it was not for Francine Tice.
There's no question that this is a tragic, horrible, horrible case.
Assistant State Attorney Aletha McRoberts was at the crime scene that day, and Lanny's bullet-ridden body told her this was no ordinary homicide case.
It was clear that this was a statement that was being made by the shooter.
Radley Horowitz was described as stoic, while his mother Donna appeared visibly upset. Assistant State Attorney Lauren Godden.
At the scene, she shuts down. She does not talk to police, and she does not talk to anyone. She puts her fingers over her ears and mouths, "I can't hear you."
There was no forced entry into the home. There was nothing.
CSI investigator Tracy McClendon began processing the crime scene, shooting video and pictures.
And this is the bathroom in which the incident took place. And inside the shower, we have the bullet hole here.
As investigators look for clues, they discovered an arsenal of weapons.
This is a photograph of firearms that were found in the home.
From handguns to assault rifles, 26 in all, and thousands of rounds of ammunition in military-style ammo boxes.
This is all in the same house.
Correct.
Most of them were registered to Lanny and his son Radley, a former licensed gun dealer and enthusiast.
Unusual, based on your experience?
I've never seen that many guns in someone's house.
But it was these 2 revolvers that were found in the master bedroom area that were of immediate interest. One gun was Donna's, and the other was registered to Lanny.
There was the firearm that had been in his hand. It's a 5-shot Smith & Wesson revolver. And there's another gun sitting right on top of the dresser. Both of those guns were matched to projectiles in and around Lanny.
Incredibly, even though Radley and his mother were obvious persons of interest, cops let them leave.
We let them leave the scene because we wanted to have that time to build that case as best we can.
In virtually every murder case I've ever been involved with, if you have a body in a house and you have 2 people and you believe that one of those 2 people is the killer, you take them to the police house, you separate them, and you question them. That was not done here.
You can't arrest somebody just for suspicion of murder. Well, the initial focus is clearly it's just Donna and Radley, but we didn't take that at face value alone.
Police spent days collecting evidence and going through the family's personal belongings.
What are you learning?
We're learning that this is a very dysfunctional house.
One very telling item that was recovered was that journal Donna kept.
In the beginning of the journal, she talks about all the positive things.
He couldn't stop hugging me, Donna wrote, and telling me how much he misses me.
She was spending time with her granddaughter.
To the library.
Radley has a daughter. Her name is Gianna. It's a situation where she is very hopeful.
She was excited when Lanny asked her to move back in with him. Lanny loves me and I love him, and I want to help him. Even though it seemed to come with a catch, to loan him $200,000. His once lavish lifestyle had been left in shreds after their divorces, the recession, and bad business dealings. Very special day when Lanny asked about $200,000 to keep both houses afloat and move back in and reconcile. Great day. But just 5 months later,
we see from the entries her mental state was becoming more and more fragile.
My heart is broken, and he is working on my mind, playing games with me. It was during that time that Donna became obsessed with Francine Tice.
Francine Tice lived down the street from our house.
Lanny told his family that he and Francine were business partners,
Before Mila?
selling a health food product for a company called LifeMax.
Did they have a business relationship, a personal relationship?
They claimed that it was business, but I saw that it was more than that.
How did you know this was more than a business relationship?
Oh, I mean, I saw it. I saw pictures. They were always out together.
Even Lanny's family noticed a change in him after meeting Francine.
They were holding hands, kid stuff. It's the first time I saw Lanny happy in 40 years.
Francine spoke at length to 48 Hours about Lanny, but would not do an on-camera interview. She vehemently denies having ever had a sexual relationship with him. But Donna pictured something else and began documenting Francine's comings and goings. Fran texted Landbo at midnight, woke us up. Lanny left at 1:15 to go on an errand with Fran, didn't return until 4:15 p.m.
It was a daily contact with Francine and Lanny via in person and in text and in phone calls.
Now, Francine Tice has said that there was not a physical relationship between her and Lanny, that this was a business partnership.
What was important for our purposes was that Donna believed that they were intimate.
Landbo home, 7:30 p.m., trying to act like he isn't with Fran all the time.
I think she's heartbroken and angry, and probably angry with herself for being so foolish.
Foolish, Radley now says, for believing Lanny still loved her and giving him that $200,000.
It became obvious to my mother that, that she had been duped.
By September 2011, it was clear their on-again, off-again relationship was over because Radley believes of Francine.
She is the most phony, vicious, backstabbing, vile, quintessential Disney villain monster that I think I've ever encountered.
McRoberts says Lanny told Donna he wanted her out of the house before he came back from a business trip, one he was taking with Francine.
This is a woman who has reached the end of her rope. This was Donna, who was not about to let him go on that trip with Francine.
Police believed they now had their killer. Just 6 days after Lanny was brutally shot 9 times, Donna was arrested for his murder.
Donna is a very meek, timid, soft-spoken individual.
Gray Tesh is Donna's attorney.
Who had the motive, who had the opportunity, who may have had the grudge to commit this murder?
Both Donna and Radley. But see, here's the difference, though. Donna left him twice before. Why now?
Most of my life, my father was a good person, but towards the end, he was an absolute, just evil bastard.
It's just that attitude that makes Tesh say cops got it all wrong, and that Radley is the real killer.
So all the motivation that is raised by investigators in this case for Donna wanting to shoot her husband, you're telling me Radley had that in spades?
He had more motivation to off his father.
My life, up until everything exploded, was great.
In less than 1 week, Radley had lost both his parents. His father murdered. His mother in jail, accused of killing him.
Did you ask your mother what happened?
No, never. What do you say other than, I wanted to know what happened, but I was afraid to ask.
Donna's attorney, Gray Tesh, says there are a lot of holes in the case.
If she was the shooter, she would have blood all over her body, everywhere. The shooter, I think, was someone taller than Donna because of the angle. If you look at the autopsy report, if you look at the angle, they consistently say that they go downwards.
Tesh starts building a shocking defense, pointing the finger directly at Donna's own son, Radley Horowitz.
For some people, this is the ultimate betrayal. A mother, through you, accusing her own son of a murder to save her own skin.
That's what the evidence showed.
Why do you believe Radley killed his father?
He had 500,000 reasons to kill him.
Radley alone stood to inherit $500,000 in life insurance money, 2 homes, and Lanny's other prized assets. Donna, as Lanny's ex-wife, wouldn't have received a penny.
So today, are you a multimillionaire as a result of all this?
No. He left me 2 houses that were pretty much upside down and some very nice cars, most of which I got rid of. But I kept the Aston Martin.
But back in 2011, when his father was murdered, Radley's finances were a mess. That's why he was living with his parents.
You were struggling, correct?
Oh, yeah. Get a job as a convicted felon.
That's right. This son of a one-time millionaire served time in prison. Before his arrest, Radley was a licensed gun dealer in a business his father helped him set up, Jupiter Arms.
It was my passion. I took to it like a fish to water. I was just absolutely lethal but disciplined and responsible.
Years earlier, Radley says, at his father's urging, he bought an illegal gun part online for his personal collection, which could convert a Glock pistol into a fully automatic weapon.
My father said his exact words were, just order it.
That attracted the attention of federal law enforcement, and Radley says his father took great delight in his misfortune.
He got a real kick out of the fact that those ATF guys were there and loved, saying I told you so and stuff like that.
Then, in 2006, Radley was arrested by the ATF after selling a handgun to a felon.
That's serious, right?
Oh, hell yes. I wound up with 5 months in federal prison.
Do you blame your father for the fact that you ended up in prison?
Ultimately, yes.
Is there enough resentment for you to shoot him?
Hey, that's, what the hell does that solve?
What better way, it's alleged, to get your financial house in order than to off your father who'd been tormenting your mother?
And it wasn't always very nice to me either.
Radley said his father was never physically abusive, but that years of verbal taunting was in some ways far worse.
My dad, could be extremely nasty. The psychological death of 1,000 cuts never lets up. Just snide, sarcastic, aloof.
Still, as prosecutors compile their case, they feel strongly that all the signs point to Radley's mother.
Is this shooting 10 times? Is this a son that's angry? Or is this an angry wife that has snapped?
Donna was so angry, investigators believe, she used the last of the 10 bullets to make a brutal statement by shooting Lanny in the mouth.
Why shoot him in the mouth?
I think she was tired of his mouth. I think she was tired of him being cruel and biting and condescending.
Things are not good here, she confided in her journal. His comments are insulting. A week after the murder, Radley goes to the police station with his attorney to give a full statement.
She was saying, he was so awful, he was so awful. She said that twice.
Donna says to Radley, he was so awful. Are those words a confession to you?
Absolutely. Her immediate response, her gut reaction when she sees someone is to start justifying what she did.
The quote, too, by the way, he was so awful, right? Police never heard that. He doesn't say that on scene. He says that a week later after he lawyers up.
Tesh believes that Radley made up both that quote and the story about the dry fires.
You're hearing, as you call it, the dry fire.
Click, 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 yeah,
click, click.
Empty. When I heard the clicking in my mind, at least, I knew that I was safe.
Well, he's full of crap. Tell me, how can you hear dry fires when you got a DEFCON alarm going off? And by the way, his bedroom's on one side of the house, the master bedroom's completely on the other side of the house.
But unlike Donna, Detective Frank says Radley cooperated fully on scene.
He gives us a DNA standard. He allows my CSI to conduct a gunshot residue test on him.
What was the result of that test?
And it did come back as negative for gunshot residue.
Donna wasn't given a gunshot residue test after she asked to speak with an attorney.
She didn't want to answer any of your questions?
Nothing.
Tesh says police botched the investigation by never collecting and examining Donna's pajamas or Radley's clothes the morning of the murder.
Nobody says she had blood on her pajamas. The police were right next to her. They're right next to her. They would have noticed that.
And Tesh says the state has little to support their claim that Donna was the shooter.
They ain't got squat. Here's what they got. They got no fingerprints on either one of the weapons, right? Or the shell casings. No DNA specifically linking her. Nothing. Nada. Zip.
This is a circumstantial case.
It is.
You have a journal in which she complains about her husband, but she never in the journal says, I'm going to kill him.
Correct.
It isn't just the journal, it's how the journal explains the crime scene, why it would have been done in such a cruel and hateful manner.
As the case goes to trial, prosecutors insist they have the right person.
There's absolutely no question that Donna Horowitz shot and murdered her husband, Lanny.
But the defense says Radley's own words speak volumes about his motive.
This sounds awful, but I am glad that he was up and alive long enough to know that what comes around goes around, and that this was the payback for everything that he had done to not only my mother, but to me.
Almost a year and a half after Lanny Horwitz was murdered, prosecutors are ready to present their case in court.
I think the essence of the case from the very beginning was this was about a woman scorned.
And the accused, scorned woman looked nearly unrecognizable to Lanny's sisters, Marcia Van Creevell and Sheila Goldberg.
She looked like a witch. She had this beautiful, gorgeous black hair, gorgeous eyelashes, and here's this little skinny thing with this gray hair and glasses.
Attorney Gray Tesh has settled on what could be called the ultimate betrayal defense, accusing Donna's son to save her own skin.
He's a spoiled child who thinks he's entitled to everything. He's got to fund his lifestyle somehow, and God knows he ain't working for it.
It's shocking to people that your mother would agree to a defense that accuses her own son.
I don't know if it was so much agreeing to a defense as it was a case of him saying, hey, this is your only shot.
I'm going to show you what's been marked for identification of States Exhibits 1 and 2. Do you recognize those guns?
McRoberts brought the guns up to me, or at least one of them, in court and showed it to me, and there was blood all over it.
And Tesh believes there is evidence that some of that blood ended up in Radley's own sink.
This right here, this is when I did the luminol testing.
CSI officer Tracy McClendon analyzed every sink in the Horwitz house.
This is Radley's bathroom. He's very clean. You can see the entire sink is full. The faucet is covered. Everything is covered and glowing.
Could this not be blood?
The glow was really, really bright and it faded quick, which tells me that it's more of a cleaning solution than blood. Blood will glow a little lighter and it will last a little longer.
McClendon testified that all the sinks in the house had a similar reaction, which may poke a hole in Tesh's theory.
We do it to show blood, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that is blood.
Could be bleach, right, or household products or things like that.
Yes.
Right, it's possible.
Yes.
It's also possible that it's blood, though, right?
Yes.
But Tesh claims it's proof that Radley, a known neat freak, washed his father's blood off his hands.
You clean yourself. I mean, you're obsessive about cleaning. I will bet you that you even have it. $100 says you've got a bottle in your pocket right now.
Guilty of having Purell.
Right. Thanks for the clarification.
Don't want to get you too excited, sorry.
Give me a sense of what you need to convey to this jury.
Somebody else did it.
That somebody else, Tesh claims, may include a hitman hired by Radley. Tesh says this smear of Lanny Horwitz's blood on a gate at his home contains DNA from an unidentified person.
Someone else's DNA is on that bloody smudge on the gate. Someone else was involved with this. It wasn't Donna, it wasn't Radley, it wasn't any of the security guards.
Is that the gate that everyone has to come in and out of to go through the front door?
Yes, it is.
The state says the mystery DNA is meaningless.
The smudge on the post has Lanny's blood on it and the DNA of someone else who did not match anyone in that house. Isn't that your killer?
No, when they swab the gate to get the blood off of it, it picks up the underlying DNA of anyone that ever touched that gate since the last time it was ever cleaned, which could be countless numbers of people.
And to prove that no intruder was responsible, prosecutors point to the alarm system in the house.
The very first alarm was in fact the glass shatter alarm from the sound of the gun being fired in the bathroom, which meant and corroborated that no other person had come into the home prior to the first shot being fired.
Tesh tries to back up his new theory by introducing Hitman, a technical manual for independent contractors.
You bought the Hitman book at a gun show, yes?
Yes, that is correct.
And the essence of this Hitman book is it teaches you how to kill somebody and get away with it, yes?
As opposed to killing somebody and getting caught, yes.
McRoberts says the hitman theory is bogus because Lanny Horowitz was killed with his own gun.
What hitman would go to do a hit and hope to God that people had a gun that they could find to complete the killing?
Your hitman theory. The problem I see with that is that Donna's in the house. She would have seen this hitman, wouldn't she?
If you're in your house and you hear shots, do you just go out and run out to see what's going on, especially if you don't have a gun on you? Or do you stay somewhere safe?
He portrays me as a complete screw-up, a nitwit, and unemployed, so where am I going to come up with the money to hire some hitman?
There's someone in this case who can answer so many questions about what happened that morning, the morning of September 30th, and that's Donna herself.
Everyone wonders if Donna will finally break her silence.
Ms. Horowitz, ultimately, the decision to testify or not to testify is your call.
I woke up to shooting and screaming.
In this Shakespearean drama, where an alleged murderous mother has accused her own son of killing his own father,
I didn't do this.
long hours of questioning takes its toll.
I want to get through this, but I'm just, a little burned out.
Prosecutor Aletha McRoberts knew she had to save her star witness's reputation.
On the morning of the homicide of your father, did you ever go to any bathroom, any faucet, anywhere in that house and clean yourself off?
Absolutely not.
Mr. Horowitz, finally, did you hire anyone to kill your father?
Absolutely not.
And did you, yourself, kill your dad?
Absolutely not. There were only 3 of us in that house, and only 2 walked out alive. So who else is he going to blame?
All right, so everybody have a seat.
When it came time for Donna to take the stand and openly accuse her son of murder, she declined.
Ms. Horowitz, it is your decision right now that you do not want to testify in this matter. Am I correct?
That is correct.
All right. Has anybody forced you to make that decision?
No, sir.
It is completely your call. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Radley wasn't in the courtroom to hear his mother speak.
So I, did my day of testimony and I left. Why the hell would I want to be around those people?
The woman Radley blames for pushing his mother over the edge, Francine Tice, was never called to testify. She made her first appearance in court to hear closing arguments.
Bam, 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 bam. 10 times on a naked man when he's in the shower. The last one in the mouth is the shot of an angry, angry woman. Love, hate, and obsession can bring a person to kill, and it can bring a person to frame their own son. Thank you.
This is a case about jumping to conclusions.
Gray Tesh hammers back.
There's no fingerprints, there's no DNA matching her. A third party, we know beyond every doubt, left his DNA and that bloody smudge on the gate. Not only is she not guilty, she's actually innocent.
And with that, the jury goes out to deliberate. But not for long. In less than 2 hours...
Jurors, I understand you reached a verdict. Is that correct?
Yes. I'm thinking I won the case.
We find the defendant guilty of first-degree murder with a
Shock, disappointment. I put my hand on her to try to console her, but, what do you say?
I think our lawyer was a schmuck.
Though betrayed by his own mother, Radley doesn't want her behind bars.
You were hoping for not guilty.
Yes.
But if they said not guilty, then your name is mud in this community because they've convinced your fellow citizens that you're the killer.
Yeah, but my mom would have been out and free.
Sentencing was immediate and unforgiving.
Defense, I have no discretion in the matter, so I adjudicate her guilty. I impose a life sentence.
life in prison with no chance for parole.
It's such a huge, immense feeling of relief, and to have the family there to be able to see justice for the murder of their beloved brother.
Couldn't have done it without you, and couldn't have done it without you. My brother was very special.
Almost 2 years after the murder, on what would have been Lanny's 68th birthday, his family and friends take to the sea to pay tribute.
I miss his true and honest friendship.
And Francine Tice spoke about the man she knew.
Today, in celebration of my friend Lanny's life on Earth, let us all never forget this most amazing and incredible human being who was always there for all of us, no matter what. Lanny, you will never be forgotten, and you will always be missed forever. My dear friend, may you now please rest in peace.
And grace.
And together with Marcia, they set Lanny's ashes free in the Florida waters.
I've still got some pretty mixed feelings. I mean, there's not a day that I don't think of my mother and where she is right now.
Though betrayed by his mother, Radley forgives her. He has visited Donna in prison many times.
Has your mother ever just looked you in the eye and said, "I am so sorry"?
Just that she loves me very much and she's so sorry for everything.
Donna now wishes the best for her son.
I love you and I am very proud of you, and I pray daily that you will stay strong, healthy, and happy. Love always and forever, Mom. She was great. She was always there for me. She was a huge, huge part of my daughter's life.
See any lizards? Anything good?
Jealousy, murder, betrayal. A once picture-perfect family destroyed.
You know, he died with his eyes open. And I mean, my father did some really, really awful stuff to me and to my mother. But still seeing that just shook me up, you know. Nobody deserved to die the way that he did.
"4 years after being found guilty of killing her ex-husband Lanny, a very different-looking Donna Horwitz returned this past spring to a West Palm Beach courtroom. She had won the right to have a new trial after an appellate court overturned her conviction and life sentence. The court ruled that Donna's right to remain silent had been violated during closing arguments when prosecutor Alethea McRoberts told the jury that Donna had refused to speak to police at the crime scene.
All the officers, they thought this was a suicide call. They're over there trying to console Donna, and she says nothing. There is no right to remain silent at that time. You can take that as evidence of consciousness of guilt.
The Supreme Court of Florida agreed the jury should never have heard this, and so Donna got a new trial. There was no change in the prosecution's case against a now 70-year-old Donna Horwitz. Once again, McRoberts relied heavily on those journal entries.
Lanny said if he knew how Fran felt about him, he may not have gotten back with me.
McRoberts again argued that Donna had murdered her ex-husband Lanny out of anger and jealousy over his alleged relationship with former business associate Francine Tice, who testified about her relationship at this trial. Francine listened from the stand, smiling awkwardly as a voice message she left on Lanny's phone was played in open court.
You might want to meet for a drink, or you want to come over for a cookie. Take care, buddy.
Yeah, it was the drink for a cookie. That was the drink. Want to come over for a cookie is the drink.
She didn't say drink or cookie.
Whatever I said, that's what it meant. Don't put words into my mouth, please. Okay, but stop.
But Francine continues to deny that their relationship was romantic.
Man is divorced 11 years. Why would I say come over for a cookie of what?
But the defense tried to mark Francine as a new suspect, suggesting she had a financial motive. Both Francine and Radley were beneficiaries of Lanny's life insurance policy.
Now, the $200,000 that Lanny left you, you didn't know until after he died, did you?
Absolutely did not know.
And the defense attorney gets Francine to admit she had a permit for a concealed weapon and knew how to use a gun.
Getting a concealed weapons permit would require you to get training in how to fire a firearm?
Yes.
But would any of this matter to the jury? In closing, McRoberts referenced the day of Lanny's murder in September of 2011.
Donna Horowitz, on September 30th, had enough. It was over, and she now knew it.
After a 4-day trial and an initial deadlock, the jury reached a verdict.
We find the defendant guilty of second-degree murder, a lesser-included crime.
This time, Donna was convicted of second, not first-degree murder.
Please rise, come to order, court's back in session.
At her sentencing just last week, Prosecutor McRoberts asked for the maximum sentence, life.
She's accepted zero responsibility, zero remorse.
While Donna's defense team gave an argument for leniency.
We have to look at, I think, the whole person. What we look at here is kind of a history of Donna Horowitz being a great mother, a great daughter, a great grandmother.
The judge agreed that Donna didn't fit the profile of a typical killer.
She is an older woman who, by all accounts, has been sweet and loving throughout her life. I don't know what snapped in you that day. I really don't.
But that didn't save her from a stiff sentence.
I hereby sentence you to 32 years in the Department of Corrections.
32 years with 6 years time served. At her age, virtually a life sentence. Donna could get out after serving 25 years, but she would be in her 90s. Radley now lives outside of the U.S., but came back to see his mother sentenced yet again.
I still can't help but feel a little bad for my mom. No matter what happens in life, just bite your tongue and hold your temper, because it doesn't take much to push some people over the edge.
All rise.
Jury entering.
Please proceed. Kill or be killed. Kill or be killed. Kill or be killed.
The defense calls as its first witness Virginia Vertides.
This was a case about a woman who shot and killed the person attacking her, Patrick Gilhooly.
Prosecutor's position is my client murdered Gilhooly in cold blood.
They were the only two people in that house that night. One of them is dead, and one of them is on trial for his murder.
911, where's the emergency?
Somebody was breaking into my house!
Police arrive on scene at 10:07.
I didn't know who was coming into my house. I was dead. Don't look at my dead.
They see Patrick laying there, motionless, dead.
Is there anybody else in the house?
Who else in the house?
I live alone. Who else is here?
They see the gun, the .38 caliber. She was immediately handcuffed, then placed into a patrol car. This defendant tried to orchestrate a story to make herself look like a victim. She calls 911, and she lies. So what happened? We have to know who these people are. Who was Patrick Gilhooly? Who is Virginia Vertitas.
I know Virginia Vertitas. I've spent hundreds of hours with her. She had a high-paying corporate job. She gave it up and went to teaching. All the parents would ask for her because she was such a great teacher. A loving mother, loving daughter. To me, she got mixed up with the wrong man.
This is a guy that retired as a police officer, was working on security for construction sites. Everybody loved this guy. Everybody loved this guy.
He beat the hell out of her. He choked her. He looked her straight in the eyes and said he was going to kill her.
Why did you have to throw me and beat me like that?
Look at the evidence. I have this woman's life in my hands.
This is the moment of truth. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. We'll see whether the defendant was telling the truth.
Why did you kill him? Because he was going to kill me.
I'm like jumping out of my skin. Someone's life is in my hands. This case is a monster. It's a tremendous weight on my shoulder. Just want this to start.
Defense attorneys Ed Belinkas and Sarah McCardle are on edge as Virginia Vertitas' murder trial begins.
I can't sleep anymore. I'm literally bouncing off the walls. If I lose, she'll spend the rest of her life in jail.
It's been 3 years since Patrick Gilhooly was shot to death in Virginia's home in Mount Olive, New Jersey.
My client is not guilty. She killed Patrick Gilhooly in self-defense.
But it won't be easy for Belinkas to prove that.
It's a difficult case. There's a lot of things that we need to address.
911, where's the emergency?
Starting with Virginia's 911 call.
Somebody was breaking into my house!
One of the biggest challenges for the defense is what Virginia said on that call.
She makes up a story. She lies.
I didn't know who was coming in my house. I was in bed. Don't look at my bed.
No one was breaking into her house on the night of March 3rd, 2014.
Big problem for her.
She was with Patrick Gilhooly, her on-again, off-again boyfriend of more than 5 years.
There's a legitimate reason why she did what she did.
There is only one person who can explain it.
How are you doing today?
Okay, just very nervous.
But it's a big gamble.
It's always a risk to put a defendant on the stand.
Even riskier because Virginia, severely depressed and anxious, is now heavily medicated.
If you didn't put her on, the jury would never know what happened that night. Do you still love Patrick Gilhooly?
Objection, Judge. I'll allow it.
Yes.
Their story began in 2008.
How did you meet him?
I met him online, Match.com.
Patrick was divorced. His 2 daughters are here in court.
Patrick Gilhooly was not perfect, ladies and gentlemen. By no means.
He was, says prosecutor Matt Troiano, a complicated man.
He drank too much and too often. But he had a big heart. He worked hard. He was loved by his family and friends, and he loved them.
Patrick was working in private security, including a stint as a bodyguard for Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt after he had retired as a cop.
It was a good relationship. He was very attentive.
When Virginia met Patrick, she had been unlucky at love. She had married 3 times in search of it. The first time she had married young, and it didn't last. She had fallen hard for husband number 2, Scott Vertitas, also a police officer.
Oh, she loved him very, very much.
Virginia's mother, Craney Kohlhofer, says when the couple's children, Kelly and Billy, were young, Virginia left a high-paying job at AT&T to become a teacher so she could spend more time with them.
Virginia would do just about anything for her children, wouldn't she?
Absolutely. She was a marvelous mother.
But she says that marriage collapsed when Scott cheated on Virginia.
That tore her world apart. Just tore her world apart. She was never the same after that.
She has a history of abandonment from men.
Jim Faulkner was Virginia's husband number 3.
I met her on Match.com.
That was back in 2004, 4 years before Patrick.
She had her master's degree, working on her doctorate. So she was very smart, and she knew what she wanted. She wanted this perfect life, this white picket fence and the happy family.
But he says the relationship was volatile, and whenever he tried to leave, Virginia begged him to come back.
She sent me 100 roses. She did everything in her power to get me back. She said she'll do whatever it takes, and we even went to therapy.
Do you get the impression that it's very difficult for Virginia to be without a man?
Yes, she has to have somebody at all times.
The marriage to Jim didn't last either, and soon Virginia was back on Match.com.
I saw an email that she was dating somebody.
Patrick O'Hooley.
Yeah.
And that relationship was also volatile.
We broke up a lot.
How many times had you broken up over the years?
Countless. I can't even tell you how many.
They fought a lot, she says. Patrick was unfaithful, at other times, jealous.
He did not like me talking to other men. It made him feel humiliated.
They even fought over taxes because Patrick hadn't paid his in years. But mostly, she says, they fought about his drinking.
When he was drinking, he was terrible. He was terrible.
Virginia says there were several times when Patrick was drinking that he was violent with her.
He pushed me down on the bed. He shoved me into a wall. He threw me on the floor.
A couple of times, this was towards the end, I would see bruises. They would be on her arms or her legs or whatever, and I would say, Virginia. She goes, oh, I'm just clumsy.
But Virginia never reported any of these alleged incidents to police.
But you're convinced that he was abusive to her?
Oh, I am absolutely convinced that he was abusive to her.
Why do you think then she stayed with him?
Every time I ask her those same questions, I love him. But I would say, there's no but, Mom, I love him.
Why did she remain silent? She had various medical issues.
Virginia struggled with an autoimmune disease. 3 months before the shooting, she went on disability from her teaching job.
She was weak, vulnerable. Gilhooly took advantage of that.
And the defense says there's a bigger reason Virginia didn't report anything.
Throughout the entire relationship, Patrick Gilhooly had thrown up in her face when he abused her. I'm a cop, they're never gonna believe you.
And that is the reason, says the defense, that Virginia panicked the night she shot Patrick and then lied about it.
The cops come running in. Get down, get down! At that point in time, while she's on 911, she's thinking to herself, after all of the beatings, over the years that he beat her and what he said to her, they're never going to believe you. She makes up a story. She lies.
On the stand, fighting through the haze of medications, Virginia tries to convince the jury she is now telling the truth. The couple argued that night, as they had many times, she said. But this time was different.
I never saw his eyes look like that before. He said, I'm gonna kill you, you I was scared to death. I ran up the stairs and ran into the master bedroom. I went over to the bed and I reached under the mattress and I grabbed the gun. I just kept shooting. I quickly looked and he was still on the stairs, so I just kept shooting down the stairwell.
So what led up to that horrible fight?
She's the ex and I'm the new, so probably there's gonna be a disgruntle there.
A few weeks before Virginia Fertitta shot and killed Patrick Kahuli, trouble was brewing in their rocky relationship once again, this time over this woman. Colleen Roper had been seeing Patrick, and when Virginia discovered it, she wasted little time contacting her.
I was getting prank hang-ups on my phone.
Can you approximate how many prank calls you received?
3 or 4.
I'd like to direct your attention to February 4th, 2014. Do you recall whether or not you had received some communication on Facebook?
I was getting friend requests. I didn't know who this person was because I'm very selective about who I'm friends with on Facebook. So I said, who are you?
Colleen says Patrick had told her about Virginia, but had been less than truthful and said she was an ex-girlfriend. Believing him, Colleen sent Virginia this message back.
And I'm under the impression the two of you broke up. Please don't friend me again. I didn't do anything to you. Sorry.
Take your time.
And she texted me back something like, do you think sleeping with my boyfriend of 6 years isn't doing anything to me? And I said, no, not if it's over.
Virginia's response? She told Colleen she had slept with Patrick that very morning. Patrick was so angry, he broke up with Virginia via text. We are done, so done. Wish you luck. Find someone else. You can do it. Good luck. A week later, they had another heated text exchange after Patrick accused Virginia of contacting Colleen again. Patrick left Virginia this angry voicemail.
Hey, psycho woman, I'll call your mother up.
Yet fighting was part of their relationship, and Virginia and Patrick kept communicating. But the defense says in the weeks before the shooting, Virginia had bigger problems on her mind than Patrick Kahuli. She had petitioned the school board to return to work, and they had voted against her.
I was very upset. I was ready to go back to school, and I missed the kids.
Virginia also missed her own children. Kelly was away at college, and Billy, then 16, had recently decided to move in with his father. Virginia has shared her distress over her son with her therapist on March 3rd, the morning of the shooting.
It was just really tough to talk about Billy. I was heartbroken.
Later that day, around 6 p.m., Virginia texted Patrick asking if he was coming over, and he showed up a half hour later. Ed Belinka says Patrick had sex on his mind when he went over there.
He had taken Viagra, which, not based on personal experience, you're going to find out takes a while to kick in. So it had to have been planned.
And the evidence shows that Patrick mixed it with something else that night. How drunk was Patrick Kahuli on March 3rd, 2014?
Crazy drunk.
What, almost 3 times the legal limit? 3 times the
legal limit, absolutely.
I unzippered his pants. Yeah.
According to Virginia, after a failed attempt at sexual intimacy that evening, Patrick grew frustrated.
And he kind of pushed me away and zippered up his pants and put his belt back on.
Virginia says she left Patrick sort of dozing off on the floor and went to get firewood at the 7-Eleven. But when she returned, he was gone.
They finally connected on a telephone call, and he was screaming at her and ranting and raving about, why did you leave me? You didn't tell me, and she's trying to calm him down, and she finally convinces him to come back.
Virginia left open the front door, and while she was in another room, she heard him slam and shatter the storm door, dropping glass on the mat inside.
When he came back to the house, he was a raving lunatic.
So this is Virginia's home. We asked Belinkas to take us through what he says happened in the house next. Patrick eventually calmed down, Belinkas says, but they soon started arguing again.
And that started the rage that to me was building up inside of him. She sees that, she gets up and she starts to walk away from him.
But then Virginia, says Belinkas, made a fatal mistake and said to Patrick, "At least I pay my taxes."
Do you think that line is what set everything off?
Absolutely.
At least I pay my taxes?
Yep. You know, that's when he comes after her.
The defense believes that earlier that evening, Patrick had discovered an IRS form that Virginia had filled out to turn him in for unpaid taxes.
Ed, where did the physical altercation actually take place?
It started here as she was entering the foyer. He grabs her from behind. She's trying to get away, and he pushes her up against the front door. He grabs her by the throat and starts choking her. He looks her dead in the eye and says, "I'm gonna kill you, you."
After fighting on top of the broken glass in the foyer, Belinkas says Virginia managed to escape and ran upstairs to her bedroom, where she grabbed the gun she says Patrick had left under the mattress.
She reaches under, she grabs the gun, she runs out here, she sticks the gun around the corner and starts firing.
The defense says Virginia, fearing for her life, shot at Patrick. The first shot missed.
The second shot is to the hand as he's reaching up maybe to try to stop or grab the gun. The next shot goes to the neck. And the third shot is the one that hit his arm. He's starting to come down. He gets a shot in the back. It goes through out and out his chest. He's starting to collapse and his body lurches forward, and that's when he gets the last shot. He's fatally wounded and he collapses, and that's where he died, right here.
Virginia told the jury she sat frozen in fear before walking over to him, prone on the floor.
I sat down next to him, and I kept shaking him. "Patrick, please wake up. Please wake up." Then he wasn't waking up.
She was lying to the jury under oath.
The state contends that Virginia's story about what happened in the house that night is full of holes.
Oh my gosh.
In my office, I keep a wall of people that have been killed or the victims of some crime, and it does become personal. I think it should.
Prosecutor Matt Troiano can't help becoming invested in murder cases, especially when he believes the victim has been dragged through the mud.
Basically, her defense is blame the victim.
Oh, yeah. And it's hard. It's a very one-sided argument because, Patrick's not there to defend himself.
You were angry.
No, not angry.
That's why Troiano felt pressure to prove to the jury that Virginia was the real aggressor that night.
It sounds like what you're saying is Virginia Vertitas is a liar.
It's a good way to say it.
The truth, Troiano says, is that Virginia was obsessed with Patrick. She simply couldn't accept that the relationship was over.
Why do you believe that Virginia Vertitas shot and killed Patrick Gahuli?
Because she was having problems, with her son. She was having issues with work. And Patrick, the person that really she felt closest to, was just up and leaving her.
And the proof, he says, is in the text sent after that February 4th breakup over Colleen.
You recall saying to him things like, "There won't be another relationship, I'll be dead first."
Yes.
Troiano says Virginia tried to get Patrick back by playing on his sympathy. She claimed she had multiple sclerosis.
At that time, did you specifically know that you had MS?
I specifically believed I had MS.
I understand that. But you didn't tell him that you believe you had it. You told him, in fact, that I do have it.
Yes.
But when that tactic didn't work, Troiano says Virginia tried to lure him with sex.
Did you ever ask him to come and say that it was just friends with benefits?
Yes.
By March 3rd, Patrick may finally have had enough. His friends and family say he went to Virginia's that evening to end things with her once and for all.
You may have a seat, sir. Please keep
Patrick's brother, Paul Gahuli.
And he said to me that this is it, I can't do this anymore. And he also said to me that he wanted to discuss with her some tax situation.
But that testimony seems to support the defense theory. And attorney Ed Belinkas seizes on this.
And why would he talk about that tax situation with my client if you know based on your conversation?
On prior conversations, he had told me that he was worried about Virginia talking to the IRS about a tax situation.
Belinkas says it's more proof that it was Patrick's unpaid taxes that sparked the fatal fight.
He had beaten her that night. He had threatened to kill her that night.
But was there a physical fight that night at all? Matt Troiano doesn't buy it. He charges that Virginia's injuries are self-inflicted and shows the jury what he says appears to be Virginia scratching herself in the interrogation room video.
So when the state says that she created those injuries, what do you say?
Bull crap, you know? How about the injury to the throat? When did she create that?
If she did one, she did all.
You believe that?
Patrick Gahuli was a big guy. If what she says is true, she would have looked beat up, really, really bad.
And if Patrick had broken the glass storm door in anger and struggled with Virginia on top of the shards of glass, why doesn't Virginia have cuts and slashes?
You know, you hear about essentially this death struggle that happens in the middle of this foyer, but there's no cuts from glass. There's none of that.
And Troiano says he knows why.
Patrick didn't break that glass. I don't think that the evidence supports that at all.
This is the glass from the exterior storm door.
Troiano called forensic expert Howard Ryan to the stand to explain to the jury why Virginia's story about Patrick breaking the glass storm door couldn't be true.
There's generally 3 types of glass we deal with. They're all going to do certain things.
For starters, Ryan says storm doors are not that easy to break. To test the state's position, we hired Jim Molinaro, who works with Howard Ryan at Forensic Training Source.
So are almost all storm doors now that are used made of tempered glass?
Yes.
What makes tempered glass different?
Tempered glass is stronger than regular glass. Generally speaking, it's about 4 times stronger.
When the defendant says that she heard the door break after Patrick Gahuli slammed it, what's your first reaction to that?
The likelihood of that happening, I wouldn't expect that to happen.
Okay, do you want to try?
We can give it a try, yes.
Okay.
We tried slamming it over and over again. And when that didn't work, we tried kicking it.
Do you believe the defendant when she says that door, she heard the door break before the shooting?
No.
And you see them right here.
Even giving Virginia the benefit of the doubt that Patrick somehow managed to break the storm door, forensics appeared to disprove that too. Howard Ryan explained that during the shooting, one of the bullets went through both the front door and the glass storm door. Emanating from the bullet hole were something called radial lines, and these are telltale clues.
Radial fracture lines will only occur on the first break of the window.
Using a set of doors similar to the crime scene, we asked Jim Molinaro to show us what happens to an unbroken storm door when it's hit by a bullet.
Now, you're not going to be actually firing the gun.
No, I'm going to turn this over to Jeff Brannion from the Gwinnett County Police Department.
Eyes and ears in place. Everybody behind the 15-yard line.
You ready to go look?
Let's go take a look.
Oh my gosh.
You can see they point directly to where the bullet perforated the glass.
I mean, this looks almost identical to the photos in evidence.
Yes, exactly. We couldn't have asked for better results.
Just to see what the bullet hole would look like if the glass was already broken, like Virginia said it was.
All right, range is hot.
We had Officer Brannion shoot the door again.
But what is not here that we saw with the very first shot?
You don't have the production of any radial fracture lines emanating out from where the bullet went through the glass.
All this is proof, the state says, that the bullet was the only thing that broke the glass that night, that Patrick never shattered it in a rage. But what do they believe happened right before the shooting?
Jury entering?
Patrick's own daughter, Jennifer Gahuli, says she heard everything.
I heard my dad screaming, "She's hitting me, she's hitting me, stop, stop."
Mr. Triano, call your next witness, please.
At this time, the state would call Jennifer Gilhooly.
Jennifer was going to be the star witness in the case.
Do you know an individual by the name of Virginia Vertitas?
I do.
And do you see Miss Vertitas in court here today?
I do.
Could you identify her, please?
She's sitting at the table right over there.
Stipulated she's identified my client.
Jennifer Gahuli, Patrick's older daughter, was as close to an eyewitness as the prosecution had.
Jennifer, I'd like to direct your attention to March 3rd, 2014. Do you recall that day?
I do.
Do you recall where you were?
That night, Jennifer got 3 calls from her father in just 4 minutes, right before he was shot.
The first phone call, when I picked up, he was screaming, "She's hitting me, she's hitting me." And I kept hearing him screaming, "Stop, stop." He called me again. I just heard yelling. I didn't really hear words.
The phone calls prove, Troiano says, that Patrick was not attacking Virginia. It was the other way around.
Did you communicate with your father again?
I said, "Dad, I'm coming." He's like, "It's too far, you won't get here in time." And the next thing I know is I heard 3 loud shots. I heard him say, "Holy he's shooting." And the phone call went dead. I'm sorry.
That was the last phone call Patrick Gahuli ever made. But he didn't just call Jennifer those 3 times. He also made 3 other phone calls to friends in those same 4 minutes before he was shot. Patrick's phone was later found in his pocket, which is why defense attorney Ed Belinka says most of those calls were actually pocket dials.
But they go to a number of different people.
Okay, they go to a number of different people, but there's no real communication between any of those calls. You know, I made 3 pocket dials yesterday.
Pocket dials would suggest that Patrick's hands were free to attack Virginia. The defense calls legendary pathologist Dr. Cyril Wecht to buttress their case.
He's been involved in cases like John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, Elvis Presley.
In this case, Dr. Wecht draws the jury's attention to the wound on Patrick's right hand, which Wecht says was caused by the first bullet to hit him.
That was fired as Mr. Gahuli was reaching up with his right hand, would fit in with that grazing gunshot wound.
And that, says the defense, suggests Patrick was coming up the stairs towards Virginia, just as she described.
My opinion is that Mr. Gahuli's right hand was reaching up toward Ms. Vertitas.
It is almost physically impossible for that to have happened that way.
So how do you believe that Patrick sustained that bullet graze wound on his hand?
I think that he was on the phone with his daughter. He was going down the steps, and he had a phone up to his ear, and the bullet came right past.
But if the prosecution is right, how did Patrick's phone get back into his pocket?
I think she put it there.
Virginia did have plenty of time, he points out, because she didn't call 911 for 25 minutes.
Not 25 seconds, not 2.5 minutes, 25 minutes.
Virginia's explanation? She says she couldn't find her cell phone and the battery on her landline was dying. But the state believes she was really using that time to clean up and place Patrick's phone in his pocket. staging a scene that would match the lie she told police.
Somebody was breaking into my house!
Police say they found her bedroom shower wet and a single pair of pink pajama pants in the washer, which was running.
Patrick Gilhooly left a .38 caliber loaded revolver underneath your mattress.
Yes, he always had it under the mattress.
Most important, Troiano is determined to pin Virginia down on where she got the gun. She claims Patrick left it there in the spring of 2012, 2 years before the shooting, and it had been under her mattress ever since.
Did he leave it there because he forgot it, or did he leave it there because you wanted it?
He left it there. He knew I was worried. He knew I didn't like being alone. Oh God, I just lost my train of thought.
Sitting in the courtroom, Patrick's younger daughter, Heather, hears this and then realizes she has proof that Virginia's story can't be true. She calls the prosecutor that night after court.
I told her that, well, you can't just tell me this. I can't testify about it.
Heather, do you recognize this photo?
Yes, I do.
You have to testify.
She brings in a picture taken when her father was still alive.
What is that photo of?
That's a photo of my father's first gun that he had when he was a cop.
And when did you take that photo?
August of 2012.
All right. And do you recall where you took that photo?
In Staten Island at my mother's house where I was living at the time.
That puts the gun 50 miles from Virginia's house, months after Virginia said she had the gun hidden under her mattress.
Maybe he took the gun, maybe he cleaned it, maybe he brought it back.
But Troiano thinks she stole it. 2 weeks before the shooting, cell tower data traced Virginia driving from New Jersey to Patrick's home in Staten Island when he wasn't there. She says she never went inside.
It's just your testimony that you didn't have a key for that apartment.
Yes.
The defense is now struggling, and Ed Belinkas is frustrated because the rules of evidence limit what he can tell the jury about an incident in Patrick's past.
He was suspended from the New York police force for beating his first wife.
Newspaper articles from 1996 tell the story of an alleged assault where Patrick slammed his then-wife's head against the wall and the sink. But all the jury heard was this.
He told me that at one point he hit his wife, got in trouble with the police, but that he really just got a slap on the wrist.
Patrick was charged with misdemeanor assault and suspended without pay. The charges were later dropped.
Let me tell you something. If you put your hands on a woman once, you can do it again.
But what would the jury think?
We heard voicemails, we read text messages. He had a temper.
It's a huge undertaking. There's a lot of responsibility that's on you. You feel the weight of the world. It's very nerve-wracking.
As prosecutor Matt Troiano prepared for closing arguments, he reviewed crucial evidence in the case. The storm door, Heather Gilhooly's photo of the gun. And then there was this, Patrick's car key fob. It was found in pieces throughout the house. Troiano thinks he knows how it got that way.
My theory is she just takes it and she breaks it herself. The way to keep him there was to break that key fob.
But it was just a theory. There were no fingerprints and no DNA on the fob. So Troiano didn't know whether he'd be able to make that argument to the jury.
All rise. We're ready for summations. Mr. Belinkas.
But during the defense closing argument, Troiano saw his opportunity.
Who broke the key fob?
Ed Belinkas offered the jury his theory of how the key fob may have been broken.
Prosecutor's position is there was no signs of a struggle. Well, there's a broken key fob.
And that gave Troiano the opening he needed.
Do you know what you can't do after the key fob's broken? You can't drive your car anymore.
If Patrick couldn't use his car to leave the house, then that would explain the 6 calls he made in the minutes leading up to the shooting.
Patrick Gahuli would have to call somebody to pick him up. He wasn't going anywhere if this was broken.
The defense is hoping the jury will believe that Patrick was a violent man.
The evidence is clear that my client was in fear of her life. If she didn't kill him, he would have killed her, period.
Patrick Gahuli does have at least one incident in his background. Doesn't that make you wonder if, in fact, there was some kind of physical altercation with Virginia?
No. No, I will be as emphatic as I can be, no. There was an incident with his wife a very long time ago, and that wife, who was his ex-wife at the time of the trial, sat through that trial every single day.
This is not self-defense. This is a murder.
I was in the office and somebody said they have a verdict. You gotta let everybody know. You gotta get the family.
All rise.
Morning, everyone. Please be seated.
After almost 7 hours of deliberations,
The jury has reached a verdict.
I'm getting more nervous.
All right, let's get the jury, please.
I was definitely not confident at all.
Madam Forelady, with regard to count 1, what is the verdict of the jury?
Guilty. Oh my gosh.
guilty of first-degree murder.
We will now take an individual polling of all the jurors.
I prepared them for the worst. I think that they were probably expecting the worst. So when it turns the other way, it felt good. It was emotional.
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, your service in this case is complete. I hope you found it to be a rewarding experience for you. Perhaps you.
I felt really comfortable with, our decision.
We spoke to 3 of the jurors after the verdict: John Hoover, Gina Samara, and Patty Mew.
Did any one of the jurors believe that it was self-defense?
No.
No.
Not one?
No.
No.
And they say the key fob was critical.
Do you believe that she broke it so he couldn't leave?
I really do.
Yes.
I really do. Because we actually took all the pieces in the jury room
And put it back
put
together.
it all back together.
It wasn't broken.
There
It
was
was just
not one
disassembled.
broken piece. Down to the battery. Put the whole thing back together.
And what did that say to you, Patty?
It looked like it was intentionally taken apart.
Not letting him get away.
Right.
Not letting him start the car and get away.
This is State of New Jersey versus Virginia Vertitas. Matters on for sentencing before the court. May I have
2 months after the verdict,
My name is Paul Gahuli, Patrick's brother.
Patrick's family addresses the judge at Virginia's sentencing.
Patrick would not be there to walk his daughters, Jennifer and Heather, down the aisles when they married.
One of the statements comes from the woman he allegedly attacked all those years ago.
Can I get your name for the record, please?
It's Teresa Higgins, and I'm going to be reading on behalf of my daughters, Jennifer and Heather Gahuli.
Patrick's ex-wife, the mother of their children.
Our father will never be able to hear us wish him another happy birthday or another happy Father's Day. Our father will never again get to hear, "I love you, Daddy."
Ms. Vertitas, please stand for a moment on the charge of first-degree murder.
Virginia was sentenced to 30 years in prison.
You must serve the full 30 years in prison without the possibility of parole.
Do you think you will, at some point, see Virginia walk out of prison?
Before I die, I hope so.
Her mother, Craney, is helping with her appeal.
One of the things she keeps telling me is, "Mom, don't leave me." And I hope I don't have to before she gets out.
And now Virginia, who feared abandonment, could spend the rest of her life alone.